a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, everybody, here we go. Welcome to the PWCC Premier Auction Extended Bidding Watch Party. It is Thursday night, August the 18th, 2022. My name is Jeremy Lee. I do want to shout out channel sponsor Center Stage app. They are making it happen, continuing to improve their app. Check them out in the App Store, Center Stage app. I want to shout out the Basketball Card Fanatic magazine, our co-host, editor-in-chief, Adam Gray. Go to bcfmag.com to subscribe and to check it out. I want to thank all of Sports Cards Live's subscribers, viewers, podcast listeners. I've got to meet more of you than ever recently. Thank you so much. And if you are not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, please take a moment and go ahead and do so. And with that, let's get on with the show. Let's bring out our co-host, Adam Gray, editor-in-chief, Basketball Card Fanatic, and content creator at PWCC. How's it going tonight, Adam?
Man, I'm so good. It's my favorite. I always lead the show this way. Tonight is literally my favorite night of the month, where we get to watch hundreds of items and that are all of the highest quality. And we get to just sit and talk about them. We get to say, what do you think? Would you rather have this or would you rather have that? What coffee do you like better? What part's more important? It's the geekiest of geeky card sort of talk that I get to experience personally. And I just freaking love it, man. I love sitting down and talking to you. So I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We have another Wayne Gretzky O-Pee-Chee that I'm going to be able to dig into. I believe it's a PSA 8 with an eye appeal designation sticker. So I think top 30%. So we'll have fun with that tonight. As we just mentioned in our sort of pre-show on Instagram Live, there are two Bill Russell PSA 5.5 and a PSA 6. The 5.5 has an eye appeal sticker. The 6 doesn't. I'm really curious to see how those end relative to each other. I wonder, some people in the Instagram said, oh, the 5.5 with eye appeal will sell for more than the 6. It very well may. The 6 is off-centered, but we'll see how that all plays out. I do want to ask you, though, Adam, before we jump in and look at cards and do what we do here. By the way, I know it's your favorite night of the month. It's mine too. Like, listen, I love doing all the content I get to do on Sports Cards Live, but the PWCC Monthly is so much fun because I get to do it with you. John, the basketball card guy, he will be joining us in about an hour's time as our special guest. Looking forward to having John come back and join us. But I did want to ask you, one of your big projects since joining PWCC is the top 100 iconic card countdown that you have started. I think you did card number 91 today. I just wanted to ask you, how is that rollout going so far for you?
Well, I'm loving it. And I think that a lot of people are really loving it. The thing that is very clear, Jeremy, is that when people try to sort of list or, say this card should be in a top 50 or a top 10 or a top whatever, it turns out that the top 50 only allows you to have like 50 cards, or the top 100 only allows you to have 100 cards. And so one of the things we keep hearing is this card should be way higher. Very few people are like, oh, this card should be way lower. I think people want to fit about 250 cards into the iconic 100 list. But we did the best that we could. We had people who were really smart, people like you who know really the whole hobby. We had you sort of choose your top 75, and then we averaged it all, and we just said wherever it lands, it lands. We're not going to control anything. We're not going to do anything funny with the numbers. We're just going to let it do what it does. In fact, I've got the whole list in front of me right now. I obviously won't be sharing that because that kind of would take the fun out of the list. But dude, I am loving it. I think a lot of people are loving it. And so, if you're not checking us out on YouTube, if you're not listening to the podcast, we have a new podcast, the PWCC podcast. Like, you're missing out. It really is a lot of fun. And tomorrow, actually in the next couple days, we may hear from you, Jeremy. You may be on the show in the next couple of days.
Yeah, looking forward. It's funny because I ranked my top 75 of the 215 or so cards that were on the ballot, and I did not choose the Garbage Pail Kids Atom Bomb in my top 75. I probably wouldn't have even put it in my top 100 at the time. And then I watched the video that you did with Suze, and Suze's enthusiasm for that card and the comments that she made me realize that, even though I consider myself to be somebody who's like in tune with the historical, like just the history of our hobby and the cards that have come along, it's a card that wasn't something that interested me, but it just proved to me that no matter how much you think you're in tune with things, you don't understand the whole scope of the whole hobby. I don't think anybody really can. And so, no matter what you think, if you think a card belongs or doesn't, you have to really step outside of your own experience, your own perceptions, and figure that, not necessarily project what you think upon the whole hobby, and understand that there's a significant amount of people who might think another card is important or iconic that you didn't. And I'm learning that. And now I understand that the Atom Bomb probably deserves to be on there, even though it wasn't a part of sort of my nostalgic period of the 1980s. But it was great to hear from Suze.
The only thing I'll add to that is between the two of us, between you and me, I believe we have about 75 years within the hobby. So, and you and I are both still like willing to acknowledge we're learning things every time we listen to somebody else talk about a card or why it's important, why it's significant. Every time we do a show like this and we look through the different cards in the auction, we're still learning. And that's what this show, that's what the Iconic 100, that's what it's all about. It's about the education and about sort of standing back and saying, what don't I know that I ought to? Somebody I just noticed here in the comments was talking about the oil drop already. Every time I hear you talk about the Wayne Gretzky card, I smile. Every time we scroll in and we look at the registration on a card, I feel myself picking up on things. And so that's what we should all be doing. We should all be learning. And so thanks for the shout out on the Iconic 100. We're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. So keep that up. Great stuff. One final comment on is that I think that as time goes by, if you did that like 2 years from now, the list would be a little bit different. The top 5 cards probably won't change. Maybe the top 10, maybe the top 20, but maybe a couple of movements along the ranking. But the bottom 20, 30, I could see a lot falling off and a lot coming in just as you pull different people. But okay, let's take a minute and say hello to the crowd. We got lots of people in here already. Welcome everybody to the show. This is For Me and Sports Cards Live. This is day 1 of 4 nights in a row of content on this channel. We have the PWCC Premier Auction tonight. Tomorrow night, my new show. This will be episode 3 of my new show, Hobby Hangout. We are going to be previewing the Burbank show. We're going to be talking about the California card scene. We got Rolling with FD joining the show. We've got Coleman Cards joining the show. We've got we've got Brad, the comeback card investor, will be joining the show. We've got Mark from Ultimate Pastime joining the show. That's tomorrow night. Saturday night, Brian Pirup of TikTok fame will be joining the show. He's a grassroots guy. You'll like him. And then Saturday night, Chris Ivey, director of sports on Heritage Auctions, will be joining the show to talk about everything going on there and all the records they've been breaking. So that's that. Let's say hello to the crowd, Adam. We got Birds on the Bat in the house. What is going on? Scott Pope, welcome to the show. Boston Authentic, what's going on? That's Mark. Luke L, great to have you. All Valleys here. Daniel A. Chris Kissel says, I'm drinking and it occurs to me I just like Adam Gray as a human being. Go get it. That's a wonderful comment. Mark Bazzelli says hello and says, I stand by the eye appeal comment. That must be Sniper Man. It's great to have you on the live, Mark. Skeppy, yes, here we go with the oil drop analysis. Boston Authentic, it's like Christmas at the end of every month. Yeah, we are the 18th, but I know what you're saying. Tyler says, I would pay more for the Bill Russell 5.5, but you never know anymore when it comes to investors. To some, the number is more important. That's very true. To some, the number on the slab is more important. I'm just not that guy. To me, I will take a lower grade, nicer card over a higher grade.
We got to dive into those too, Jeremy. We've got to do the Jeremy Lee special and scroll in like crazy on those and figure out which one you'd I know what you kind of teased it in our preview show, but really like explaining why will be really interesting, I think.
We will do that. That's a great call for sure. We will definitely do that. Mark says those investors may be stuck holding the bag when it gets down to it. Yeah, but as someone said, yeah, as you said yourself here, Mark, I think anyone buying Bill Russell would be pretty safe, but I agree with that comment. What's up, Michael Ham? Always good to see you. Ray from Philly, welcome. Good to see you. Skeppy says the Atom Bomb is one of the most recognized cards of all time. I mean, that right there, I didn't really know that, but that's because I wasn't into Garbage Pail Kids or Garbage Patch or Cabbage Patch Kids or any of that stuff when I was a kid in the 80s. Jake Dahl, what's going on? Luke Allen, back on top of my one premier bid. Now everybody go to sleep. Good luck with your bid for sure. There's my guy, Gerald Fortier. Good to see you as always, and nice to see you at the National. Gerald, good evening. Joe Perot, he loves the Curry NT. Jeff McMahon, Paul Santos, Vintage Card Collector, best show of the month. I say it every month, but actually talking about cards and not just the market. It's funny because we are talking about the cards, but the cards that we're talking about become comps. They become the market. They become what people are going to be referring to. So it's kind of one of those things, I guess. But here we are. David Owens from My Slabs. What's going on, buddy? Mark says, yes, happy to be here. Nikita, what's going on with you? Good to see you. He says, buy the card, not the slab. Amen. Chris Kissel, yeah, I appeal for vintage for sure. We got Alex in the house. What's going on? Gerald says, all day low grade with better eye appeal over high grade with not as nice of eye appeal. Yeah, no doubt. And Steve Elmore, great to see you. Welcome to the show. And lastly, for now, Richard Goring has joined us. What's up? Thanks for the thumbs up, Richard. Glad to have you. Oh, the comments are still rolling. A couple more here. Daniel A has a question. Maybe I'm missing something. Why am I not able to save a card in my favorites on the fixed price portion of the PWCC site? Not sure. I don't think Adam's the guy to answer that, but feel free to. Oh, go ahead.
I would just say, I'd say there's still things that we're building out. There are things that are coming in the not too distant future. So look out for that. But there's some functionality that I think there's a lot of people who probably want a couple of things, and you're going to see those in the coming months.
Justin Vick is ready for some great analysis, as are we. I think it's worthwhile to give a reminder, everybody, that on the ticker right now, your initial bids must be placed before 7 p.m. Pacific. That is in 16 minutes if you want to participate in extended bidding. Very important. If there's a card you want to buy, get a bid in now. Otherwise, you can't bid. You will be excluded. You will be not able to bid on those cards. After 7 p.m. for 1 hour from 7 till 8, we have the 5-minute extension, the 5-minute extended window. So as long as there is any bid on any card during any 5-minute period from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific, the whole auction extends for another 5 minutes and so forth. And then for the half hour after that, we get into the 2-minute windows and then the 1-minute windows starting at 8:30 p.m. Pacific. And once that starts, if a minute goes by and there's not a bid on any item in the auction, everything ends. But everything ends at the same time.
So just going to add the thing that I'm going to sound like a parrot to those people who've heard me say this at the beginning of every show. The most important moments of the entire next few hours are the next 15 minutes. Because in 15 minutes from now, if you don't have a bid on an item, then you are not able to bid on that item in extended bidding. I think that's probably understood to most people. But if you've registered and you're sort of going back and forth right now on whether you want the chance to win something, just remember, if you don't have a bid right now, you're not going to be able to. And there's no way around that. There's no, I'd be willing to pay a whole bunch more money. Sorry, you've got to have an initial bid in the next 15 minutes.
Right on, right on. Nice looking cardboard. Join says, I love window shopping at Premier Auction. Thank you for the best wishes on the show. Really appreciate that. Nice looking cardboard. That's a great name for an account right there. All right, man. Well, listen, there's 269 lots in the Premier this month, and that's down from last month. And I got to tell you, I'm happy about that. I'm glad that there's only 269. I don't know what that means from a business perspective for PWCC, but that's not my business. I like it because it's more manageable, fewer auctions for us to look at. So it's going to be interesting. We've got the ticker at the top showing the most 3 recent bids. And I've said it the last couple of months. You used to get 6 across the top here. They're now showing 3. I'm going to ask again for the fine people at PWCC. If you could go back to 6 there, we'd greatly appreciate it. Even if it's just for the night of the auction, that would be great, and we could watch it. But maybe you can make this smaller or something like that. But hey, we'll just leave that like that. So here they are, 269 lots tonight. I have these sorted by highest price first, And of course, Adam, across the top, we have 2 Tom Brady 2000 playoff contenders. One's a championship ticket out of 100 right here. It's at $850K. It's graded 8.5 with a 10 auto. And then you got the Gem 10, not without the auto grade, but that is an on-card auto of the regular contenders, not numbered. And it's at $500K, which is really $600K after buyer's premium. So well, I'm not surprised, but it's nice to see a vintage baseball card gain a place on the top row here. As we talked about in the pre-show on Instagram Live, it's a Hank Aaron PSA 9. It's going to break a record for the most expensive Hank card ever sold. I mean, a PSA 9 Mickey Mantle from 52 Tops, his not rookie, but first Tops card, a 9 would sell for, last one sold for 5.2 million, I believe, to Rob Go. Now what would it do? 10 million? We don't know. I'm just guessing, but this is a phenomenal card. I'm not sure what the population is on it, but I'm certain that it's not very high. And then to round up the top row, it's kind of fun to look at. Adam, you can speak to this, but we've got a Steph Curry National Treasures RPA BGS 9.5. And I guess if we were to flip it over, I'm guessing the auto's a 10 because it looks pretty nice. That is a heck of a patch right there. Anything you'd like to say about this particular card?
I think the one thing that's worth noting is it's actually a true gem here too. It's a true gem plus with 395 subs and a 10 sub. In the very next line or the line down after that, you're going to see the gold chrome, and those are the 2 most recognizable, most important, most iconic Steph Curry cards. Really. That's how, not just how I feel, that's basically how the hobby feels. And so what we have tonight's a really rare situation where you have both of them going up against each other head to head. And, people have asked the question, what would you rather have, the best RPA, which is at a 99, or the best refractor, which is at a 50? And we're going to find out tonight. And I don't have any idea what will happen. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of compare against each other.
That will be a fun comparison to shine a light on. I'm clicking, that's not registering for me, but as you can see, it is a beauty. As you mentioned, it's a true gem plus, 395s and a 10 on surface. And I'm a big surface guy, so that's always good to see. And on the back, it does have a 10 grade on the autograph, numbered 79 of 99. That's a heck of a card. You just these are dream cards. We throw around the term grail in our hobby pretty loosely, and I'm okay with it being used loosely. It is what it is. But this is truly a grail. Anything over whatever, whatever's significant to you. But that's now at about 508,000, I think, or 504, something like that, with the buyer's premium. So this is a major card. Mark Bazzelli here says, I'll own one of those Brady's one day. I definitely wish you luck with that. And when you do, maybe you buy it here and we celebrate with you. Birds on a Bat says, I feel like we see 6 Steph Curry RPAs a month now. We see them every month, that's for sure. And Greg Kissel, the Curry Gold Refractor is sick. We got Toa, who's joined us. Good to see you, Toa. Says, would you recommend PWCC and other consignments as a safer alternative with all the shipping theft that continues to occur? I got to tell you, I'm not that in tune with all the shipping thefts going on, so I can't really speak to that. But I'm a big fan of consignment services because I'm personally not a big fan of listing cards myself on eBay. I would rather use a consignment service like a PWCC or a ComC or something like that. So options are definitely out there.
The best decision I ever made, Jeremy, I've told people this for years. The best thing that I ever did was I realized, I can have somebody else sell my cards for me, because I love buying cards. I love researching. I love the whole thrill of all of that process. I love getting it. I don't like selling cards because the risk, the burden is on you to get the card there. And then, you get the auction site says, oh, you didn't get the card there, we're going to give the buyer the money back. And you're like, but I sent the card. Cutting all of that out is one of the best things out there. And so, for me, obviously I'm a company guy. I work for PWCC. The best thing you can do is send those cards off, put them in the vault, not have to worry about them anymore. And then when it's time to sell them, then you're letting somebody else do all of that work, and you're getting this huge number of bidders that come in and bid on the card. So kind of a no-brainer.
Let's look at this card for a sec. The 86 Fleer Michael Jordan, just like the Curry NT, just like the Brady contenders, we're seeing a PSA 10 Michael Jordan rookie, 86 Fleer. I guess when you say Jordan rookie, now you have to qualify it by saying 86 Fleer with all the Star 101 debate going on. But in any event, this one's a bit different. It says the Aoki collection on it, meaning Steve Aoki must be the previous owner. Someone's going to acquire this. And I'm wondering, is there going to be any value attributed by bidders because of the provenance of this particular card coming from the Steve Aoki collection? I'm curious, guys in the chat, if some of you could just let us know, is there value? Is there value on this because it comes from the Aoki collection? I mean, I'm looking at the card. I can see just from this angle here, it's not perfectly centered. It's off centered right to left a little bit. You can tell the border's wider on the left than on the right. And I haven't zoomed in. Otherwise, from here, corners, edges look beautiful. Surface always tough to tell. I'm sure it's clean. But does that line of text right there, the Aoki collection, is that going to attribute any more value? Right now, this thing is sitting at $204,000 with buyer's premium included. The bid's at $170, so at least it's hit that $200K already. Let's see what the chat says. We've already got some answers coming in, Adam. I'm going to go. Rich Goring says there's no additional value attributed to it. Julian Birds on the Bat says, no, I don't care if Jesus owned the card, LOL. Maybe if Jesus owned it, it'd be a little bit different. I don't know. That'd be some crazy provenance right there. Let's see. Mark says, seems like a cheap way to add value, but it will most certainly artificially raise the price. So he says most certainly will artificially raise the price. And I agree. It's artificial. It has nothing to do with the card except the previous owner. But that's kind of cool. I mean, I bought a card once because the previous owner was Dr. Newman, who had that amazing collection out of Florida, passed away, and I bought his Tiger Woods SI for Kids rookie card. Gerald says, I don't see any value added, maybe for a person that is also a Aoki fan or collector. This is someone who is just in the hobby. Yeah, well said, Gerald. Same with you, Michael Ham, would not add value. All Valley pedigree doesn't matter to me. Michael Ham makes a very smart and astute comment saying if it was owned by Jeremy Lee, then yes, yeah, I understand that for sure. So I guess we'll see what happens with it, Adam.
I have no question that I have cards in my collection that I bought from certain people, and I love them because that's part of the story. And so the thing that's unique here is that you actually get it front and center on the slab. You can't look at the card without remembering that it's from Stevie Aoki's collection. So to me, does that add any value? No. But if I was a great fan of Steve Aoki, could it? I could see it.
Yeah, it doesn't add any value for me either. It actually, I would maybe even veer away from it because I don't know that I want some other guy's name on my slab in my personal collection. If I was buying it as a pure investment piece or a card to maybe flip within a year, then sure. But unless all my cards had something similar, I don't think that that's something that I would really chase. That said, I'm just one person in the hobby, and I'm sure that there will be some value attributed to it by certain collectors, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have no judgment against that whatsoever. Good luck to everyone who's chasing that particular rookie card this year. These Pelés always stand out to me, Adam, simply because they're so small. You get so little cardboard for the dollar. And I mean that tongue in cheek, right? But it's still a cool 1958 image of Pelé, who is no doubt to me probably like the most important soccer player of all time, at least my perspective. I'm not saying he is. I'm not a soccer guy, but to me, that's really important.
Can I tell you an interesting note on this?
Yeah.
This is from a friend and coworker. He wanted me to mention this on this specific card today. The previous record for this card is $28,800. But because this one is a 6 and it's pop 1 of 1 and then higher, it goes back to our conversation from last month, Jeremy. Vintage soccer is on fire. When I say it's on fire, it's like there's this sort of underground movement of collectors that recognize, hey, this is historically significant, and some of these items are coming to auction right now. I need to get this into my collection. I need to get this into my portfolio. We saw a bunch of them last month, and this is just another example of another one of these this month that is an important soccer card. It's the highest graded, and for this card, it's not just a record, it's by far and away a record.
Good. Thank you for adding that for sure. We have a PSA 10 Charizard first edition shadowless, it looks like. So we'll see where that ends. It's at 160, which is 192 out the door. A Luka RPA, we're no stranger to Luka RPAs in these auctions. a box of 86 Fleer basketball in the BBC wrap. We'll see what that does, especially after that whole whatnot issue that happened at the National. Be interesting to see where this one lands. It's already at 120K out the door. I love the out the door lingo that we got from Eric Myers, your colleague.
Can we, before you move on, I want to just highlight what I think was the card that jumped out to me most as I went through the boxes. As part of one of my roles at PWCC is to go through and do the video. So will you click on the Trey Lance just real quick, Jeremy, just real fast? The Trey Lance card showed up in one of the boxes that I was to do a video of, and if you look at the item and you scroll down, you'll see 4 boxes. And one of the last box is the video. There's a video on every card that's in the Premier Auction. And that's cool because you can get even a better sense of it in hand and some of these things. You don't want to watch it because it'll slow down your computer. But this card in hand, Jeremy, like audibly I gasped. This card is gorgeous. And people will make fun of white backgrounds. People will say, oh, I don't like that. This is like a perfect card. And I don't know anything about football, so just take that for what it's worth. But I'm looking at the card going, holy moly, this card is just perfect. It's the hollow foil around the shield. It's the shield that's really like thick and really pops. It's the full image of Trey Lance, all perfectly white, not a tinge of yellow, 1 of 1 in the original flawless holder. That's the way it came out of the pack. It's a perfect card. Again, I don't know who Trey Lance is. I don't know if he's going to be great. I have no idea. But the card, like, I just looked at it and I went, oh, this card is perfect.
It's a great looking card. I would, the only qualifier I'd put on the perfectiveness, the perfection, the level of perfection of it is just a bit of streak in the T and the auto, but that I don't think that's a big deal.
Sure.
But I also don't know how autographs are graded. So, but in any event,
perfect is not the right word. You're right. It's not. It's just you get a certain card in front of you and you go like, this is unbelievable, and this card did that to me.
Yeah, it is a beauty for sure. I love that thick shield, the NFL shield for sure. Let's go down the first bit. This card stuck out at me here. This is an absolute stunner. I mean, on-card autos of LeBron and Michael Jordan, quad patch, both 3-color Jordans, 3-color LeBron here, 2-color I think there, several breaks, 8.5 with a 10 auto, numbered out of 15. I don't know. Listen, I do not follow the MJ LeBron autograph market closely, but from what I've seen and what I remember, my memory isn't the greatest when it comes to, because we cover 300 cards a month. This seems like a steal to me, but at a whopping 85K, I might be wrong, but I don't know. I mean, that seems like a great card. Be interesting to get John's comments on that when he joins us, and we can save it for then, unless you have anything you want to add quickly on that one.
The question that I ask on this card, and I've heard other people ask it specifically about this card, there's a gold version that's to 5, and there's this silver to 15. The question is it the nicest auto patch of the pair in existence? And I think, like, I don't know one that's better. The exquisite dual number pieces has a more iconic name. It has a name that people know better. But as far as pure aesthetics go, I think that the UD Black dual autograph patches are the nicest dual autograph patches ever made. And part of that's that I love, that I love silver and gold on black. Not everybody loves it as much as I do. I just love it. And so for me, especially you point out the quality of the patches, you're getting a minimum of 3 breaks on each one. You're talking about, what is that, like 16 breaks across 4 different patches. And except for the J on the LeBron, you're getting at least 3 colors on each one, and the autographs are perfect. It's just an unreal card.
It really, it's a showstopper for sure. I love that card. Let's see. I want to stay on top of my tabs here so I don't get too lost. All right, so let's go back up to the top here. We are now into extended bidding. I did not place a bid on that Jambalaya LeBron rookie year. Probably will regret that. I didn't place a bid. I don't have any bids on the auction. But, even though there's 269 lots this month versus like 350 or so last month, the caliber of cards did not suffer at all. Adam, I'm going to take a minute and go back to the comments, if you don't mind.
Do it.
We have a whole bunch that have come in, and I'd like to address most of them, if not all of them. Luke L says, Jeremy, how come you don't do the same show for Golden monthly? It would be amazing to do it twice a month. You know what? I have a business deal with PWCC, and so I'm loyal to PWCC. as far as covering auctions goes. Simple as that, but thank you for asking, Luke L. Luke Allen says, I bought a Tatis Sapphire Auto from Phil Hughes. That's pretty cool. He's pretty active on Twitter. Nice looking cardboard with PSA DNA, the Aoki collection card, and then the slab. I mean, DNA is only for autographs. Maybe if Aoki autographed the slab, but boy, that would be an eyesore. Justin Vick says, I bought from Jeremy Lee and Sports Cards Live. Yes, you have, Justin Vick. You have bought cards for me, and I always appreciate that. JH makes a comment about one of the PWCC policies, JH. This show is not a complaint department. Please read the terms and conditions before you do business with anybody to make sure you understand what you are getting yourself into, and contact them directly for any questions or comments that you may have. Fan123 says, agreed about Aoki adding zero value. Dallas Mooney, I collect hockey goalie cards, and I purchased a few of Jeremy's PSA DNA autos a couple months ago back on the PWCC Weekly. Thank you. He says, definitely adds a few extra points knowing the previous collector. I appreciate that, Dallas Mooney. Skeppy says, buying into cards that have been ignored to grading for many years is very risky to pay market values because there is most likely several copies in high grade just waiting to be graded. That's kind of an interesting comment. Mark says, gorgeous card, but I have a hard time believing, he's talking about the Trey Lance here, believing he'll ever be a top 10 quarterback, let alone top 20. Yeah, fair enough. Toa Hang loves that MJ LeBron, Adam. Can't blame him. We do too. Birds on the Bat says, Adam, with a hollow foil love, can we hear some appreciation for gold refractors? Yeah, and we've got a really awesome Derek Jeter card in the auction this month that the mirror gold. I mean, it's not a gold refractor, but it's still kind of the predecessor to gold refractors. We'll be looking at that one for sure. Appreciate the clarification on the Instagram story. Dave Bolaton, can we see the 52 Mays? Yes, we can. Jay Mollico, the Brady Flawless should be mentioned. Yeah, you're right, Jay Mollico. That to me is one of the most beautiful cards. I know there's a few different parallels. I do love that card. We'll take a look. Luke Allen was outbid on the signed Jackie. Sorry to hear. And Mollico points out it's also first year Flawless. So he is talking about, Adam, this card right here.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at this patch, and let's let it load for a second. I'll just watch up here. You look at this patch. I mean, this is coming off the back of the Patriots headwear, right? Like that is an amazing looking card. I do think, for my taste, this is the best. This and its parallels, Adam, in my personal opinion, there's no Tom Brady card I would rather own, I don't think, than this exact card in one of its parallels. I don't love the green foil on this. I'd rather it be a different color. But aside from that, I mean, this is out of 5. Like, come on. What a stellar card. Any thoughts on this, Brady?
So I know a few people who are like big time Brady autograph and big time, Brady autograph patch guys. And he has some stuff that's from earlier in his career that is highly collected, but I think it's pretty well. I mean, I think a lot of people agree with you that as far as like best looking, best aesthetics on an autograph patch card of Brady, this is it. You're exactly right about the green, but here's the thing. You only have a few different versions of them, and this is the second hardest version to get. And so for these guys that are nuts that try to put together the whole, the rainbow and stuff like that, this is an essential card, and this is as nice of a patch as we've seen on one of these. And so I'm with you. Flawless it just kind of grows on me as time goes by, and this is another one of those that just grows on you.
Yeah, well, Nikita agrees. He says Brady Flawless are the top Brady cards. I mean, I can't argue with that or deny. To me, they're just absolutely stunning. So really nice stuff. But, cards we see regular. Let's we were asked to look at the mantles. We got a couple of 52 tops mantles in the auction, so we'll definitely take a look at those. I've got 12 cards favorited. We'll get to those shortly. Here they are, one at a time. I did make sure to have those loaded and ready to go, so we can do some of that in a few minutes here. But here's page 2. Looks like this LeBron fell down a page after some bids came in. I say it every time, this exquisite Michael Jordan auto patch, Adam, is just what I think is an absolutely stunning card.
No, you do.
I love that.
You've always loved that card.
I know.
And that's a great example for sure.
And here's a LeBron rookie year exquisite with a one color patch. I don't think I've ever seen a one color black patch on that. It's a
There,
75K. That's $90,000 out the door. What do you think
there.
about the fact that it's a black patch?
I think we had one that was just plain. It's been a while, but I think it was maybe 6 months ago or 8 months ago. We did another one that was just a straight up one color black, or maybe it just had a little bit of trim along the top. And my case for it then was, again, I say this about this card every time it comes up. Unlike the RPA that's at a 99, the limited logos at a 75 is game used. It's from his real rookie year. It's like a real rookie year card. This one has a really great blue autograph, and it's got a game used patch. It's one of the most significant and important LeBron James rookie cards. And for me, it's like, what would you rather have? This card for, at this point, it's 90. It's not going to sell for 90. It's going to go for more than that. But what would you rather have, this for what it's going to cost, or the RPA for literally 10 times that? When there's more of them, and I get it, it's like one of the most important iconic cards. I think, not very many people are going to afford $1 million card. Oh, look, you found a second color. Good job.
Well, I was tipped off. I was tipped off by Nikita, who says it's 2 color. You got to zoom in. So thanks for that call out, because definitely could not see that at the normal view. And just look at how, but it's definitely there. Like from here, you like, oh, you can't even really see it, but it is definitely there. I just noticed the autograph is absolutely beautiful on this. What a great auto. I'm sure the auto got a 10. The card got an 8. Some color in here would definitely help the card. But that said, it's game used. No questions about the legitimacy. 03 exquisite. Wonderful card overall for sure. I want to say hi to Jeff Hart. Got to spend a lot of time with Jeff at the National in Atlantic City, at Bleecker on the Monday before. And Jeff, we're going to have Jeff on an episode of Sports Cards Live, because he has an amazing collection. He is, I believe, the #1 PSA set registry holder for the NBA, I believe, the Hall of Fame set. So I think that's it, Jeff. You can correct me if I'm wrong. We even played some poker together. I knocked him out, actually. I knocked him out of the poker game. We were playing late one night in Atlantic City. Jeff, great to see you as always. Adam Crawford wants us to check out the McDavid Ultimate RPA out of 10. Mark says, to me, the top card of anyone deserves to be a rookie card. Does Brady miss out, given the non-championship ticket cards aren't as scarce as fall? See, I don't agree with that, Mark, because you look at the 90s and rookie cards are not the top card. So maybe if you were to provide an exception to your comment and say outside of the 90s, even the 80s, I mean, I just don't agree with that comment, but I can understand why we would think that. But yeah, I'm not there with you on that, I guess. As I think about it further, even Wayne Gretzky's rookie card, there are Gretzky cards I prefer to his rookie. There are Jordan cards I prefer to his rookie. So I'm not with you on that one, Mark, but I understand the sentiment. Like, it seems like it should be that way.
Hey, there's a lot of people talking about the G or gold. I've had multiple people message me about it today, and you just mentioned it, and there's a couple comments in the chat. We should take a look at that one before we get too far.
Okay. So let me just open this guy, the mantle. And I also, by the way, love the PSA 10 Joe Montana. There's been some action on Montanas on the fractional platforms recently, so it'll be nice for everybody to get another comp on a PSA 10. And so this will be fun comparison. We've got we got 252 tops, a PSA 3 and an SGC 3, right? And we are going to be able to look at them sort of side by side, to a degree, side by side, not really, but we'll flip back between the two and take a peek at them. And I mean, just at first glance, the SGC just to me looks like way better. Notice the emphasis on way than the PSA 3. Just a much nicer card overall. I mean, yeah, it must be. I don't know which company, if one is if SGC is more strict, or if there's something technical we can't see, but those are a couple cards that'll be fun to look at. I also want to add them, in addition to pulling up the Derek Jeter, I want to make sure I pull up the Gretzky as well, because I don't think I have that currently tabbed up for us to review. So we'll definitely.
Adam Crawford asked us about the McDavid. Don't forget that one.
Right. Thank you for the reminder. That's the ultimate. There's not much. I mean, we can pop it up. There's not much to look at. Well, there's also the McDavid High Gloss, which is that's the Young Gun Parallel, the most scarce and desirable Young Gun Parallel. It's out of 10. A BGS 9 is a pretty good grade for that card. It's a 42K, which is over 50 out the door at the moment. And as I scroll, I'm kind of hunting now for these. I know you're going to want to talk about this Bill Russell. We'll wait for John to join to talk about that one. But I'm going to I'm going to take that off while my while the screen refreshes on the next page. Go to a couple comments for a moment. Yeah, Dominic is excited to watch the Jeter Mirror Gold. We have not passed it yet, Dominic. We have not, but we will certainly take a look at it. I'm still waiting for my page to refresh. It takes a little bit longer while we are live streaming.
Besides that Mirror Gold, the other card that I feel like I've had lots of comments on over the last week has been the Jackie Robinson 49 autograph. I know you're not that autographs on cards isn't your favorite part of the hobby, but I think that seeing an original Jackie with the autograph, it's the first one of those we've had, and I don't know if it's the first one we've had as we've been doing the show with Jeremy, but we don't see a lot of those, and so that one might be kind of a cool one to look at some point as well.
All right, no problem. I found the Jeter. Now I'm going to search for the Gretzky and then the McDavid. I just want to have these guys.
We got a lineup of like 10 cards to look at. Sorry.
Yeah, we're going to have a few, but that's okay. I mean, that's what this is all about is serving the people that we appreciate. Everyone who's tuned in to watch. We're going to take a look at most of the cards that you guys call out, but it does take time when we're live streaming to get everything up and running. So I apologize for that. Kevin Walsh says, you must have just got here, Kevin. Says, thoughts on the Trey Lance 1-1 Shield. You got to rewind about 10 minutes. We spent a good amount of time talking about that one already. So please go ahead and do that, Kevin Walsh. Here's the Gretzky. I'm going to open that up in another link. And then I'm going to do the McDavid. And then we will share screen again and get back to business. Let's see what Skeppy says. So he says, 1996. Oh, here we go. 1996 Select Certified Baseball is amazing product and important to baseball cards, but people need to understand the print run on those is not accurate. Also, fun fact, these cards have coatings on them. Well, that's pretty cool to know about the coatings. And I was wondering, because this Jeter card that he's talking about, that is one of these Select Certified Mirror Golds, it states even in the auction description, I think it's commonly known or accepted that they're out of 30. But earlier today, I wasn't 100% certain. So I went and I looked for the serial number on it, and they're not serial numbered. They weren't, none of them were. So you just have to kind of go by, I guess, almost like Beckett's. If you look at an old Beckett, you'll see some of the information around the set, and you'll see that these are out of 30. But there seems to be some speculation whether some kind of slipped through the back door, that kind of thing back in the day. Adam, anything to supplement that?
Well, I think that there's a lot of these cards before the prevalence of serial numbering where the best thing you can do is just go look at the pop reports. Just go look at the pop reports. That's not going to give you a perfect idea of how many there are in existence, but you can compare it to some of the things that are serial numbered and get triangulated a little bit. But look, at this point, this card is an extremely valuable card. Most of them have been graded, unless there's some that's found, in some like old collection, which I think is very unlikely at this point. That's about how many exist, and that's, I think, what matters most.
Well, Luke Allen agrees. He says the signed Jackie is the best card in the auction, in my opinion. Kevin Walsh, yep, just got here. Too funny. And Vintage Card Collector says, I'd love thoughts on the Jackie auto as well. I'm increasingly interested in vintage Hall of Fame autos as a unique low pop item. Well, yeah, and you're not alone. I'm seeing more and more talk on Instagram about that. Personally, I think they're cool, but I'd rather have a clean card and then have an autograph on a separate item. That's just me. We all have our own opinions. But let's have another look at this Select Certified Edition Mirror Gold Derek Jeter BGS 9. Surface is an 8.5. Corners and edges are 9s. Centering is a 9.5. And you can see, even without looking at the 360 video or the 360 display that PWCC offers on all Premier Auction items, it's still a beautiful card. And maybe we'll flirt with the strength of my internet and see. Yeah, like look at the way the light just bounces off this thing. It is beautiful. It's currently at $80,000 bid, which is $96,000 with buyer's premium included. Always important to know what you're paying for a card when you bid. The nice thing about PWCC's auction platform is that it shows you transparently what your bid is. Before you hit bid, it lets you know what your total cost will be. And I really like that. You don't need to necessarily do the math yourself. So pretty good. Dominic says, I thought 96 mirror gold seems to be fairly agreed upon at 30. Other years or not. See, that's an insight that I was unaware of. And that's really good to hear, because if it is accepted that there are only 30 of these out there, then this is a heck of a card. I want to mention one thing about it. It does say rookie over here. PWCC, I think that's a mistake. It's not a rookie. It's from 1996. His rookie card is 1994. That's 1996. His rookie card is the 94. It's 93 or 94 SP. So definitely not a rookie card, but definitely still an extremely important Derek Jeter card right here.
Do you see how this is what's so confusing about baseball, and why one of the main reasons I love basketball is it's so clean as far as rookies. I say that, and then we think about the Jordan. That's another story for another time. But see right underneath the 96, it does show rookie on the face of the card. And I think, a big reason for that is he was probably a rookie in the major leagues at this point, right? And so it's one of those things where should we write rookie? Should we not? Well, it doesn't say rookie in Beckett, but he was a rookie. That's why in baseball it's always kind of convoluted. So I don't know.
It is convoluted. I think though, I understand why they put it here, because they don't care that a competitor put out a card 2 years or 3 years earlier. And yes, thank you, Mollico and Skeppy, for confirming 93. You know how sometimes you confuse the years. That said, I do think that we should know that it's not a true, what we, the hobby, consider a rookie card. Maybe it could, rookie season or something like that up here, but I just want to make sure that at least on the show, we're not kind of misleading anybody. And I know that this is not a deliberate thing, but it's just quite simply important for us to let people know that this is not considered to be a rookie card as far as Derek Jeter goes. I think he's got several from 93, including SP, which there's one in the auction as well. But in any event, listen, I am losing myself. Like we talked about earlier, that perhaps a player's most important card, best card, however you want to put it, isn't their rookie card. I believe that. I don't think that their most important or best card has to be a rookie card. There are way more interesting, nicer, rarer, scarcer cards that are not rookies. And this is much scarcer than his SP rookie. So to me, if you're a Jeter collector and you want to have all of his important cards, this is certainly one. You're going to have much more difficulty acquiring this one than his SP rookie. So it's a very important card, regardless of being an RC or a rookie year, whatever it is. It's a great card. Okay.
Hey, is my signal good, Jeremy, or are you losing me at all?
I have you right now. I hope everyone has me. If you can let me know. If you don't, I'm going to proceed as if you do. Birds on the bat. Julian says that Jeter does have others. He's got 93 tops, 93 pinnacle, 93 upper deck, 93 SP, etc. So Mark Bazzelli says, I'll add except the 90s and maybe 80s to my previous comment. See, Mark, this is how you put two heads together, or 150 as we have here now, and maybe you get to a better answer. I appreciate you're willing to bend and collaborate on that for sure. Definitely. So Adam, it says that because his rookie year was 96, the card companies were recognizing that. They made prospect cards, but the hobby now recognize those as hey, you know what, Adam? Back in 96, maybe Select, Score, Donruss, maybe they consider this to be a rookie card. Skeppy says 96 was technically his rookie year. So it's hard to fault, Select or Score, Donruss, whomever for putting it on there. And I can understand why PWCC would put it on here, considering it says this right here.
I was just going to add real quick. It's interesting because Select has a rookie card of Jeter in 93. So Select itself has two rookies of Derek Jeter. I think the thing that you said, though, there, Jeremy, that is so critically important is that you're not buying this card because it's a rookie card. You're buying this card because it's one of his best cards, right? Because they are as rare as they are, because as you talked about, it's like this sort of early gold. It's not a refractor, but it's like a refractor. It's as rare as it is, and it's in the condition that it's in. That's why it's one of Jeter's best rookie cards. And I think if we just focus, sorry, I didn't mean to say rookie, it's one of his best cards. I think if we just look at, whether or not it's a rookie, we kind of, miss the forest through the trees a little bit and sort of not recognize why it is what it is. And when you throw it on that 360 like you just did, and you get that tilt back and forth, and then you consider how rare it is. If there's anybody in the chat who can look up the population, it might be in the description too. I haven't looked at it, but I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, look what Dominic says here. I'd take this over his SP PSA 10 all day, and it's not even close. And I understand that. I mean, the SP is probably going to sell. The SP is a $400,000 or $500,000 card in the PSA 10. So I don't know if I'd take that over it because of money, and an extreme difference. That said, I would take this over a PSA 9 or any other Jeter SP rookie. The other thing is that there's tens of thousands of SP Jeter rookies out there. There's only 30 of these made. I mean, and it's a beautiful card. It's an important card, all these things. So, okay, let's move along though. I'm going to a couple more comments here. Carl Daly says, rookies is a gray area. Look how many consider the 52 Topps Mickey Mantle a rookie. And I think that's just I think it's just people that don't know that his real rookie is 51 Bowman. But all that said, to me, I don't even care anymore. An important card is an important card. The RC designation is losing importance to this collector right here. Skeppy says select and select certified are worlds apart, though it has always been that way. What's good, Ben Diamond? Great to see you. Thank you for joining. Peeps, welcome to the show. Says nice Jeter, absolutely not a rookie, but that doesn't matter for this card. Exactly. Agreed. All right, Adam, should we now look at, what do you want to look at next? Do you want to look at the 252 Topps Mickey Mantle? Should we look at the Gretzky? Should we look at the McDavid? What do you want to look at?
I'd love to look at the Jackie Robinson.
Oh, okay. Well, then I need to bring that one up.
No. You've pulled up other ones. My bad. Let's look at the mantles.
Okay. We're going to look at the mantles. For 1 second, though, I'm going to just bring up the Robinson. So I have it there. Peep says RC logo is over. Yeah. I mean, I can't speak much to the RC logos on baseball, but in any event, let's take a look at the Robinson now. Here it is, right. Oh, I thought I brought it up. Is that it there? Nope. Let's just click through to it right here. So this is cool. 49 Bowman, Jackie Robinson, rookie auto, DNA 9. So it's graded as authentic. It's got the autograph gets a 9. Population 1 of 7, I guess, where you got autographed 9s for the 49 Bowman. And it's funny. This is an interesting case because Jackie Robinson also has a 48 Leaf card that's considered his rookie. But for some reason, this is one place where the hobby is not certain which year these cards were released. So even though PSA calls the Leaf a 48 and the Bowman a 49, I think that there's some debate as to whether those years are technically correct. And therefore, this card is also considered to be his rookie card, even though PSA has a different year on it. In any event, let's take a look at the autograph. This is a Jackie Robinson 49 Bowman. That is his autograph right there. It's graded a 9. It's in ballpoint pen. Pretty sweet to know that he touched this card. Looks to have a little bit of a crease or a wrinkle right over there. Yep. But, nice rounded corners, naturally rounded corners. I like the toning on the border. I'm going to focus more on the card than the autograph because I'm a card guy. And that's what I'm looking at. The autograph is awesome, but listen, I'm going to be in the minority here when I say that I'd rather just have a copy of this card without the auto, but Jackie Robinson's a special case. I may make an exception when it comes to him.
Hey, Jeremy, what would be really cool actually? That the reason that this card was graded as authentic is probably because it's a pretty low grade copy. If you could give your guesstimate on what you think the card ought to grade, I think that would be interesting. And then then we could also talk about why the autograph is a 9. You said one thing I want to mention real quick. You said there are 7 of this card graded. That population refers to not the autograph grade, but just the card grade. So there are 9 autograph Jackies in authentic condition is what that means.
Got it. Okay. I'm going to say this would grade out a 3. I can't see it being any lower. I can't see it being any higher. 3 to 3.5. I don't think it's a 4. I think it's a 3. I think it's a 3.
That's a strong, I mean, that's a strong grade, I think, for that card. And the back looks really sharp. Can you see any signs of that crease on the back, or is it just on the front?
Let's have a look at where it was again. So it's going to be on the other side, coming up the middle. So we're going to be looking right around here, sort of right around here somewhere. I can't see it, but well, there's something going on right here.
Maybe check the 362 real quick. That might give us a hint.
Sure, that's a good idea. Let's see if we can take a look at the back.
Not. You could make it bigger if you hit the guys. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, now I can't really swing it around anymore.
See
it's okay.
Okay, the on the upper right you can make it bigger, and that if you hit the upper right arrows, you can then spin it too. Yeah, that guy right there, and you can still spin it.
Thank you. Good call. Good call. Yeah, it's.
Give you anything?
I don't, but I don't. You know, in hand you probably could.
What about on the front? What about on the front? Can you see anything else on the front from this view? Not really.
I don't know, scratch there. I don't know if that might be just on the slab though.
Kind of looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, you see it again right there.
I think the thing that I think is really special about this autograph, and I'm not like some big time expert on autographs, but what I like about this one is that he could have signed this in a lot of places. I think it's great that he signed it on his jersey.
Yeah, well, on the white background is perfect. Perfect placement. A wonderful card. 3 at best, says Peeps. Jeff Hart says 3. Dave Kaplan, good evening to you, sir. Carl Daly says, looks like there's a mark on the Jackie Robinson left cheek. Left cheek of Jackie. I didn't see that before, but I wasn't necessarily looking for it. Something going on. Well, there's a little white spot there. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got issues, but T-Dot thinks it looks like a 2. Alex says the last PSA 8 Jackie sold for $50,000 in July. This auto version has surpassed that. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome for sure. Okay, more comments here. Tom Newman says, we need that Jeremy Lee grading service. Peep says 3 at best. Mark says 3 in today's PSA standards. They seem to have changed their criteria. Ben Diamond says the edges are a little beat, but great eye appeal. This also goes on to say, if I get a small loan like D-Chump did, I would buy it. I don't know what that means, but okay. Luke Allen loves it. Shea Way Vlogs graces us with his hobby presence. Says Prism, Ronaldo, Kobe, Kaboom, Gold, LeBron, Jordan, Duo, Rookie, Auto. That's a lot of words right there. Shea Way Vlogs.
I think what that tells us is Shea has some cards up for sale, and there's nothing wrong with that, Shea. Like,
no, that's what we want to know. Yeah, for sale. Luke Allen says this card sold for $72K at Heritage. So there we go. The card sold at Heritage earlier at some point in time. Vintage card collector, if that's a 3, those go for about $6K. So the auto is adding over $70,000. Doesn't sound too bad, too off to me. And Justin says, I think this is the card I want most in the auction. So lots of interest in this card, but we're going to go back to the main page here. Let's have a look at the top of the auction. John, the basketball card guy, has joined us. He is in the back room. John, give us a couple seconds. I will be bringing you out momentarily, and thank you for joining. I know that you got a lot of fans out there in Instagram world. So everyone who has come over now, if you just got to the show because you want to see John, I might make you wait a couple more minutes longer. No, I'm just kidding, but I do want to welcome you all to the show, monthly show that we do here. And John, this is his 3rd time as joining us as special guest. I'm going to bring you out one sec, John. I just want to clear out the comments first. Tom Bullard says, definitely out of my league, but would love any Jackie. So this is spectacular. Sean from Victory Investments loves the card mainly because Jackie held it. There's value in that for sure. Mark says, how about the Kobe Legacy Collection rookie auto? Adam, if you could remind us, and now that John's here, we can look at that because John can make comments on it as well. Tom Bullard, I remember growing up told not to get rookies autoed because they would decrease their value. Carl Daly says, I'd rather have that Jackie than $1 million LeBron triple patch. I hear you.
Hey, Jeremy, I know we're about to move on. I want to give a real quick plug. One of the things that I do for PWCC is a new show called The Hobby, where I bring on various guests our second guest was the expert when it comes to Wayne Gretzky cards. That was you. We just did an episode on autographed 1980 Topps cards with with Bird and Magic and Irving. And the question that I asked in the end is, there's 400 autographs that of this card, and there's almost 700 PSA 9s. Which would you rather have? And I asked the guest, signed and slabbed on Instagram, what his thoughts on it were. This is really just a great question about preference. Some people think it's insane that you would consider the autographs, and some people who love autographs think it's insane you'd rather have a card that doesn't have the ink. And the great thing is there is no right answer. You should do what you like. But I think it's a really interesting thing to think about, and watch out for that episode. It'll go live on Saturday.
All right. Well, that's a great segue. Let's bring out John, the basketball card guy.
What's
John,
up?
Welcome back to the show. Great to have you.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here again.
Yeah, you doing good? All good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it was awesome to see you at the National. I want to say, as always, because I feel like we know each other very well now, and enjoyed seeing you, of course. Why don't we put that question to you? The one Adam was just talking about, the 1980 rookie card of Bird, Magic, Julius Erving All-Star in the middle, 900. I think Adam said, well, how many autographed PSA 9s did you say?
So in all conditions, John, there's about 410.
Mm-hmm.
But PSA 9s, there's about 700. And so the question that I asked the signed and slab, David Ratliff, is I said, what would you prefer? And he loves autographs. So I knew where this was going. But I said, what would you rather have? And his answer was really just like, it's a really good question. So Jeremy's asking you, what would you rather have, a PSA 9 or?
I'm the same about autographs. I agree with David on that one. It's something, because that's what I've always collected ever since the autographic set came out in 1996. I mean, I feel like it's a piece of the player. Like, the card represents them. It can take a moment in history. You can have a memory attached to that card, whether it's something from watching a game or if it's something from the day you pulled it. But something about having an autograph or a game-used jersey, or even, dare I say, a player-worn jersey, something that's come in contact with the player that has like an element of them, I always like a little bit more personally. But I think that comes back to something you said a minute ago, Adam, about the fact that the beauty of this collecting is that we can have preferences, that people can like different things for different reasons and choose, even if it isn't worth as much money on the open market, you could choose to have a certain card over another. And that's what I love about this stuff.
Yeah. So let me just add on to that real quick. The autograph of the three is not worth anywhere near what the PSA 9 is worth, but there's fewer of them. And that's why we get to sort of figure out what we like. Back to the Jackie real quick. And sorry, last thought. I've been looking this up. I don't want to miss it, Jeremy. There are 9 total Jackie Robinson autographs from 49 Bowman across all grades, but there are now I lost it. I think it was 125 PSA 9s. So there's like 14 times more mint cards than there are of the autograph. And so to somebody who's a card purist, you're like, I don't care. Like, I need the card in great condition. But to somebody who loves that, like Sean was mentioning, the card was held by Jackie Robinson, and it's his card, and he signed it. Like, it just depends on what kind of collector you are, and there's no right answer.
Agree. That's the beauty of the hobby. There is something for everybody. And when people say that they're, they're not saying it so much anymore because we've been on a downward trajectory, but people used to say, I'm getting priced out of things. I can't afford anything anymore. The hobby is only for rich people. It's not. There are so many awesome cards. I'm actually thinking about doing a segment on one of my episodes called, people will give some podcasts will share their play of the week or play of the day or whatever it is. Like, go out and buy this card. I want to do a segment that's like, here's a play for cards that no one's thinking about. They're not worth anything, but they're so awesome. Just to prove that there's something for everybody out there to collect. You don't need to always be chasing cards that are out of your financial reach. There are so many cool cards that are just unappreciated, lesser known. So I agree. Something for everybody in our hobby. Definitely.
I feel sometimes in that category of like, I can't afford these cards. Like, looking at the Magic Johnson, the Julius Erving, Larry Bird, I have a copy of that's literally a reprint that then got autographed, because these guys are signing a lot of autographs these days. You can go to signing. So I have it. It's PSA graded for the autographs, not for the card. So the autographs are graded authentic. They actually graded the autographs as well numerically. But I have that on display, And it's just something that for less money, I have the same kind of visual appeal. So even going further than that, right, Jeremy? It's like there's something for everyone, and then there's even things that are like lesser versions that if you can't spend the money at this point in time, you could still get something that kind of feels the same. So
have cards of players like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Wayne Gretzky, right? All these great players. Adam.
I was just gonna say our friend John here is one of the best examples of this, Jeremy, where he has unbelievably high-end cards that anybody would want. But you can see that sometimes he gravitates towards some cards that they're not like the highest end cards, but he loves them and you can feel that passion. My favorite kind of collector is the sort of person who says, I love this, I don't care what it's worth. And they have sort of the whole spectrum. That to me is like what a collector is. And I, you guys are both like that. So now we're just sharing the love. Now we're just feeling the love.
But it's important to have these discussions and have them in a public forum, because I think some people do get discouraged in the hobby and they forget that at the end of the day, go back to the cards, find cards you enjoy, find cards that you love, work up to bigger cards. A lot of people are showing how they work up to bigger cards. It can be done. You just need to be diligent and go with your gut. Follow cards that you know that you're going to enjoy, and try and balance it a little bit with cards that you think are appealing to more than just yourself. I think that there is that aspect as well, but never compromise collecting what you like. I would recommend. I'm going to go to a couple comments here, guys. Skeppy, I think it's a compliment, says, what makes Jay Lee, that's me, the expert on Gretzky cards just because he knows about oil drops? Well, until you've heard him analyze an oil drop, you just don't know. Thank you. Thank you, Skeppy. Ben Diamond says the coolest card is that Upper Deck Black MJ LeBron dual patch auto. We talked about it before, and John, I even mentioned you. I don't know if you were watching, but I said I'd be interested to hear John's comments on that card. So what did you think about that card? Before you speak though, John, Ben goes on to say, it looks so good, I want to eat it, which is hilarious. Don't eat it, Ben. Don't eat it. John, why don't you let us know some thoughts on that card?
Yeah, out of everything in here, that one resonates with me the most too. I mean, it's just got, even though the patch windows are small, they have so much color, so much dimension. They picked really beautiful pieces of the jerseys for them. The autographs look beautiful. I very much like Adam. I'm a big fan of black cards with silver autographs on them. I mean, they look great. So yeah, that's one of my favorite out of the whole thing too. Absolutely. I think in terms of pricing, it's actually probably being valued higher than, I was looking back to like the last auction or two, and some dual Jordan LeBrons were actually selling for lower than where that's currently at. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a strong card. It's numbered out of 15, I believe. You don't see them very often. Yeah. And so people are bidding strongly on it.
Yeah. And for anyone who's just joining, here's the card that we are talking about. It is this one right here. You got some sick patches, on-card autos, LeBron, Michael Jordan. This is from 2008. It's out of 15, as John just said. The autograph's got a 10 grade. The card gets an 8.5. It's at 100,000, which is 120 with buyer's premium. Population is 3, none graded higher. Again, compared to what I've seen some autos go for, I think that card is just an amazing one. And when I just searched Jordan LeBron, you could see that it brought up 5 cards total. Like, I'm not too crazy. Well, that's pretty cool, actually. This one looks pretty nice as well. I wonder what the autos got. The auto got a 10 on this. Hard to tell from here. Dual here out of 50. That's pretty nice.
On the other one.
That's really nice. As is this. I mean, they're all great, all nice cards. 100,000, 48, 38, 22. And 20. So you can get a dual auto from between 20,000 and 100,000 plus buyer's premium for Michael Jordan and LeBron James at the moment. Anyway. Okay, guys, I'm going to go to a few more comments here because we got a lot of them and there are some really good ones here. So Jay Mollico says autographs for players who have passed makes more sense. Current, not so much for non-pack pulled, in my opinion. I agree. That's a very astute comment. Dave Kaplan makes a similar comment, says Jackie died so young and is an icon, so he's a bit of an outlier when it comes to his autograph. So true. Same thing goes for, when we saw Ty Cobb autographs recently, right? Same theory applies. I think Dave Kaplan really nails it with that comment right there. Carl Daly, I like this. He says, my segment can be called 10 under 10, 10 great cards under $10. There you go, Carl Daly.
I want to see that.
Yeah, I'm glad to see he didn't trademark that, so I might be able to use it still. I appreciate that, and not owe him anything but a shout out. Thank you, Carl Daly. Vintage Card Collector says the better question is, what would a Bird Magic PSA 8 or 9 with a 10 auto go for? A lot of the auto cards are in poor condition. I think it would go for more than one that is in worse condition, but I don't know what the amount is. Either of you just want to shout out a number on this, an estimate, a guesstimate? No?
I talked to David about this. There's 2 9s that are autographed, and those are, well into the 6 figures. Huge cards.
Cool. Chris Kissel says, I've said this before, I can never afford a Honus Wagner original card, but think a game worn or patch feels cool as well. It's a good point. There's some really nice Honus Wagner, Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle patch cards that you can find out there. I know Topps made several, Upper Deck made several of them. Beautiful. I used to own a Babe Ruth with four patches. They all had pinstripe through them, numbered out of 100 or 75. Sold it before the boom. Darn it. Beautiful card. Chris goes on to say, I can't afford a Willie Mays rookie, but I can get to some of the 50s and 60s cards. Good job. And Sean says, Jeremy Lee analyzing a Gretzky oil drop is like MJ doing a fadeaway, second nature, and a thing of artistic wonder. That's nice, Sean. Thank you for that. We will do it. We do have a Gretzky here, but let's, John, remind me, you're the basketball card guy, all the way back to 48 or more modern?
More modern, 86 and above.
86 and above.
Yeah, the 86-87 Fleer set was the first one that I collected post that. I didn't do that when I was 5 years old, but it was the first set that I put together in terms of years. So I have some stuff from the 60s that I, kind of dabbled in when people came to me with it. And I just thought the cards, especially the tall boys, were just awesome. And I just love the looks of those. So I started putting together some of those sets in the more recent years, but I'm by no means an expert in them.
Well, let me ask you this. For a guy like you, what does the death of Bill Russell mean to you in terms of your approach to collecting, your approach to Bill Russell collecting? Does it cause you to go back and say, hey, this is a guy, he's an all-time great, he's a Mount Rushmore kind of guy. Maybe I should have his rookie card in my collection. Does that thought cross your mind at all?
Yeah, the same way that when Kurt Cobain died, I went out and I bought every Nirvana album that was out on the shelf at the time. I mean, literally, I went out and I was like, I'm never going to be able to get them again. They're going to stop making them. They're going to stop being out there. I think that my attitude towards it is really centered around the autographs, because he wasn't a guy that signed a ton anyway. You'd see like a lot of his sets, like where other people would be numbered to 99, his cards are numbered to 25. I know from the inside track that his autograph was more expensive than most too. He charged a lot per autograph. So I think the card companies tended to buy a few less from him. And in his later years, unfortunately, it was a little bit more difficult. I saw him at his induction this past year when he was inducted as a coach at the Hall of Fame. And I was at the enshrinement dinner, and he got up, and I remember the feeling still in that room. I just got chills just talking about it. But I just remember that feeling, is standing ovation, so much respect. They played a video, and it was just like, my goodness, like, people, how quickly we forget greatness. When we look at modern basketball, we forget the greats sometimes, but man. And so I think for me personally, it's about looking for interesting autographs, knowing that he's not going to sign again, and knowing that I don't know how many rookie cards are out there, but most of his autograph cards are numbered. And so I have a pretty good idea when I see something, how limited that is. A lot of people, anytime something like this happens, it was the same thing with Kobe. You quickly, and people don't think about the autographs right away. That happened with Kobe much later, but people immediately do the same thing I did with Kurt Cobain. It's like, quick, let me go out and buy anything I can find, because you feel like you'll never see it again. And I think that's just not true. I think you will see this stuff again. There are plenty of rookie cards out there. There's not a huge graded population, but there's I'm sure they're out there. They'll get discovered. But I really focus around the autographs personally.
Yeah, fair comments. I'm going to show you one in a moment, but first I want to just bring up Sean's comment here. It says, Adam, I've been reading Basketball Card Fanatic tonight. another great issue. And I got to say, as far as the collectability of BCF goes, this issue might be the number one issue because it's got the Jordan
red.
PMG red on the cover. What a great looking cover there, Adam. Nice choice.
I heard
Nice
the
choice
first
for
10
sure.
were green. I'm just kidding.
Okay, let's have a look at this though, John and Adam. Let's have a look at this card here. Speaking about Bill Russell, this is his exquisite numbers pieces. This is numbered to only 6 copies. You've got an on-card autograph. You've got a game-worn piece of jersey right there, or patch, I should say, from a jersey worn by Bill Russell in an NBA game. I love Upper Deck's disclaimers. Number one in the game as far as talking about what's on the back of what's in a card. That's awesome. The autograph itself is graded. Let's look at the front. It's graded a 10. The card is an 8.5. I want to say one thing about this card, and that is when you look at the patch, you think, oh, it's only a one color. Well, first of all, there's only 2 colors to choose from on the Celtics jersey, green and white. But more importantly is that it's a black and white card. So the white jersey, it just blends right in beautifully. I'll leave it at that. Let's put it the basketball card, guys. And we'll start with you, John, because your name is actually basketball card guy. And then Adam, for you to come. But John, take it away.
I love this.
Talk about this card.
I love so much about it, right? Because it's exquisite, which is one of the greatest sets in basketball. We know in terms of ultra premium sets, we won't go into design and all the other stuff of the sets that we love from before that too. But in terms of ultra premium, this is it. It's numbered 6 because his jersey number is 6. So that's why you're getting that numbered piece matching that. And so it's a serious limitation. And it's a game worn jersey, which if we separate the other piece out, not that I don't think there's any player worn of him out there anyway, because I don't think there would be any reason to say, hey, Bill Russell, toss on this, jersey to put in your rookie card. Like they're not doing that kind of stuff anyway. But he had very few in comparison to so many other players, game worn jersey cards, even though he was in exquisite, even though he was in other sets. I have one sitting up on the shelf, I think over there. That's a game worn jersey. They're very few and far between in the sets versus, Jordan and LeBron and Bird even, and like Magic Johnson. They have much more game worn stuff just in general. So the fact that you're combining both of those in the card and it's exquisite is amazing. His autograph also looks incredible. It's just as blue as the day he signed it, which is something always to look at. Unfortunately, and this goes for every grading company, these cases are not rated for UV protection that long into the future. And so if this card was graded back 10 years ago, when it was like an 07, 08, probably somewhere in that distinction there. So if this was graded, let's say 10 or 15 years ago, and this is sitting in a case, because why wouldn't you bring this to shows and display it? That light over time can knock that autograph and turn it black. Basically takes the blue right out of it. So seeing that, even though it got an autograph graded 10, that means it was a 10 the day that Beckett looked at it. It doesn't mean it's still a 10 today. That's when we all have to use our own eyes. That still looks like a 10 to me. I mean, it looks gorgeous. So I think it's a great card. It
really does. And I just want to also call out that there's only 6 of them made because these numbers patches are number of pieces they print as many copies as the player's jersey number. Adam, I mean, John just did a great job of extolling the virtues of this card. Anything that he might have left unsaid that you'd like to shout out?
Well, I agree. I think John did a really good job. So the thing that I would add is that if you were to ask really high-end collectors of Bill Russell what his best modern-day card are, they would say 2 different cards. They would say the Retro Incredibles gold that's numbered to 6, and they would say this card, and they would put this card probably ahead of the Incredibles by quite a bit. This is Bill Russell's best modern day card, in my opinion. And other than the 6 of 6, which we saw sell about a year and a half ago, this is the second best copy of the card. The other thing that I'd add here is, there's a very famous exquisite collection that surfaced about 2.5 years ago now, and I believe it was 3 of the 6 Russells were in that collection. That we hadn't seen one at public. We hadn't seen one surface. I hadn't seen one personally, an image of one in over a decade. And so the reason that we've seen a couple of these over the last few years is because that collection came to light. That was the collection that had, the dual logo man that are now in Nat's collection, had all the Dwayne Wade out of 3 RPAs and all of the LeBrons and the LeBron 1 of 1 from the 03 set. I don't want to, I feel bad because I actually know 2 people who are trying to win this card tonight, but this is Bill Russell's best card. And so I said best modern card. He has rookie cards that are high grade, that are worth far more than this one is probably, but this is a really special offering. And I've said this before, if I was able to bid on PWCC auctions, which I am not because I'm an employee, this is a card that I would have been going for tonight for sure.
Yeah. And it would have made your annual top 100 list probably pretty high up on that list. Okay, a couple of comments that have come in about this card. Jacob makes a comment, the NBA just retired his number, so that's a big deal. I guess we'll never see for players moving forward from now. What's going to happen to players that are wearing 6 right now? Do they have to get a new number?
Yeah, they got to change. Yeah, they're losing their numbers too.
I believe they're adopted. I believe that because like LeBron is like adopted in until he retires or something.
Oh, is it that? Yeah, I was going to say because it's retired though. Yeah,
I think
I know they do a big ceremony and like that's never been like think about that. Like
he can wear it
like the weight of that.
As far as I understand, he can wear it until the end of his career, and then there will never be another number 6 until those guys all sort of leave. But you can imagine some of them sort of being pressured to move it before then, but I don't think they have to.
And they probably would out of respect. I would expect them to because Bill Russell is just that worthy of it. Wayne Gretzky's 99 is retired across the whole NHL as well, so it's not an unprecedented move by any means. I'm sure there's a few other players throughout the other sports as well. Vintage Collector says autos of veteran Hall of Famers are so beautifully signed compared to the young players who initial their autographs. Yeah, that is a true story right there. Gerald says no, players wearing the numbers are okay. There will be no new number 6s, so they will be grandfathered in. Ben Diamond says there's a grandfather clause. So there we go. Looks like we've definitely had confirmation there. Skeppy makes this comment. Any game worn from Bill Russell card is rare. You could take every privately held game jersey he ever wore, cut them up, and you would still have very few cards available. So not a lot out there, I think, is a fair comment. So let's switch now from the Bill Russell game used patch on card auto card that Adam just declared to be his best modern day card. I don't think you could really argue that. And let's take a look at his rookie card. We've got this. We talked about him earlier. We got a PSA 5.5. I love this card, John. You must love this card too. Come on, right? Yeah. This is a PSA 5.5 with a PWCC eye appeal rating of the top 15% of PSA 5.5. So it's a strong 5.5. There's also a PSA 6. Also at 17,000 right now. These two cards are at the same price. The 6 is the higher grade, but look at the centering. This card is obviously the print is up and to the left on the canvas, on the cardboard canvas itself, whereas the 5.5 much more nicely centered side to side, but definitely placed a little bit higher up on the card. And if we get into a little bit more detail, which I haven't done this yet, but let's take a quick look. We're going to look for some fish eyes. You'll often see fish eyes on this card. Little green.
Jeremy, is this the 6? Is this the 6 or the 5.5?
This is the 5.5, right?
Okay.
This is the 5.5.
Right.
Yep.
So we're going to look for fish eyes. I don't see any. Usually you see several of them within this black background. They'll often be green on the Bill Russell rookie. I don't see any fish eyes. The registration or the focus of this card looks to be pretty bang on. I mean, you might see a little bit of a shadow along the face here, the head of this player. I also noticed it down here along his leg. I think that's a little bit of a misplacement of probably the magenta printing plate, but maybe not. I'm not sure.
The dot above his head is a light in the shot, right? That's part of the image, right?
That's in the card. That is not a flaw. That is in the card. We'll see it here as well. So here you have that there that you were just pointing out. Here you can tell the surface. So this is now the PSA 6. The surface, you got some of this snowflaking going on, which is just wear and tear on the surface itself. So you can see you do have it a little bit here, that magenta overlay a little bit, but I think overall the registration on both of these cards Well, this one's look at his eyes. It's a little bit more
saturated.
blurry here
Yep.
than it is here.
Oh,
right?
for sure, Jeremy. You're
Yeah.
spot
And
on.
if we look at the other copy that is not in the auction, but is in my hands here, you look at this copy of the 57 Tops Bill Russell, you'll notice that it's
That's
got
a big one.
perfect registration.
There's no snow there either, Jeremy.
No snow, no fish eyes. This is a perfect Bill Russell rookie card. And
Now, was that pack pulled though?
no, this was backdoored back in 57. Yeah.
Same.
It's sheet cut.
Yeah, I love those. Anyway, let's keep going. That was just for fun. So we've got the PSA 6. I would venture to say that the 5.5 has a better surface, but is a little bit less focused from a registration perspective. However, even looking at the edges, the borders, and the edges, the border is beautiful here. It's nice and clear, nice and white, but not too white. But if you look at the PSA 6 now, yeah, looks about the same. A nice coloring on the border. Edges look good. Corners look good. For what is a PSA 6, I don't think we're going to get, PSA 8 or 9 qualities as far as edges and corners go on a PSA 6. You can see there's some corner issue there, some fray coming off, which is fine. You can notice if you look closely, you see the blue? So there's blue ink coming above the black, and that's a bit of a registration issue, but it's also it's spotty. It's a little like almost blotchy in a way, which is just a sign of the times. I think it's really cool to see that.
Jeremy, let me ask you a question real quick. So this one has blue, but it has a cleaner image of Russ, right? So how does that happen?
I think it's because of the other plate, the magenta plate. I think the magenta plate is causing the most impact on the registration, because you can see right here all this magenta down the side of this player's face, where on this card, you're seeing lesser of it, a little bit, but lesser of it. So this card is more focused, even though the blue plate, maybe there's no, is there a blue plate even? I don't think there's a blue plate. So whatever's causing this blue up here is not also present. It might just be black or something, is not present in the image of Bill Russell himself. Where on this card, you've got more of the blue, or the same. Maybe I'm getting that backwards, but in any event, as we compare the two cards, for my dollar, I'm going to buy the 5.5 pretty much all day long, just because of the centering. However, I do prefer the registration on the 6.
Yeah.
But it's the registration isn't that poor on the 5.5 that would make me choose the 6 over it, because that would make me choose registration over centering. The centering is so nice on this card, which is so hard to find on any 57 Bill Russell. So I'll put it over to you guys for comments.
Well, as you just highlighted the image of Russell, and you pointed out that the 5.5 is really not bad, but the 6 is just, it's striking how good it is. It's just really crisp.
Yeah.
I felt like as you talked about that, I forgot about the centering for a second. And so you really, to me, there's 3 things. There's the snow on the 6. There's the centering on the 6 is off a little bit, but then the 6 has the really crisp image of Russell. And to me, it just seems like a really hard, I think you could go either way and be great. I don't think it is clear, Jeremy, which one's far better. But if you're a big centering guy, obviously there's no question. You got to go with 5.5.
No question. From centering, you're definitely gonna go for the 5.5. John, any comments?
I think it's a question of, are you putting it away and enjoying it up close, or are you putting it on display? If you're putting it on display, if that's your goal, the 5.5, if you're further away from it, looks like it has better color from afar, even though that's just because of the magenta being a little bit off, and has that great centering. So if I were going to put it on display, like in my office or something, I would go for the 5.5, because I think from afar, it looks better. But if you were going to put this in a vault or a safety deposit box, or which is probably where it should be, really, in a secure location, and you were going to look at it only in your hand up close, it is striking how sharp it is on the 6. So I would go with that if that's what I was doing.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great comment, John. It's so good having two of you guys on here with me to provide these other thoughts and approaches. Even just your discussion about it depends what you're doing with it. But yeah, the 5.5 from a distance presents better. The 6, when you look at it closely, is definitely has a better image overall. With that, let's go to a couple comments that have come in on this card. So I'm going to start with Jeff Hart right here. Says it's an art piece, but I'm biased as a Celtics fan. Jeff, I know, has a very high grade copy of this card. So really interested, Jeff, in your comments, if you are willing to share anything about what you would choose between the two. He confirms that little white mark on the top border is on every card. It's a light in the camera. That's really cool. And Chris Kissel says, as opposed to the Mantle and Maze, this is almost a rookie of basketball cards. In general, a 4-8 Bowman set and a few Burke Ross before it. Goes on to say, I don't think that one is authentic. I don't know which one you're talking about there. PSA would say no holder. I'm not sure which copy you're talking about, Chris. Hello to Teapot. Great to see you, buddy. The cyan plate. Thank you, Dave. I like this comment from Jay Mollico because I'm pretty much with him on this. He says, I take image over centering. Now, I'm a registration guy. Now, but when registration is not that bad, I'm less of a registration guy. And John made that point very well. So, but I hear you. I'm all over image. It's more important to me than centering, for sure. That's a no-brainer to me. And I know that me and you, Jay Mollico, we might be in the minority there. Teapot says, I'll take either. Richard Goring will take the 5.5 all day. Jeff Hart says, I'd probably go with the 5.5. It's so hard to get that centering. See, that's something that only a pro would know. It's so hard to get that centering, or someone who, has looked at hundreds of these. So good comments from everybody on the bill. I think we've done justice for the Bill Russells. Hey, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's, I'm going to close these windows out so I can clear up my, my tabs here. While we're analyzing cards, let's take a look at the Gretzky. I think it's something that we do here. It's become a custom, and
it's what everybody was waiting for, Jeremy. You can't disappoint the crowd.
I know. And now the pressure's on, right, John? Because I'm trying to find something new to say about them. It's like the same thing each time. But hey, as far as I know, each of these copies are different. I don't track to see if it's the same serial numbered slab coming through. But at first glance, at a distance, the image is bright. That blue is bright as can be. The centering looks to be like perfect, I think. The oil drop from here is very nicely centered. The registration looks good. I do believe that looks like the Oilers, the word Oilers is a little bit lower down on the plane than the word Edmonton, which might be also evident. Well, I don't know. It's tough to say. This oil drop is really well centered. You can see that the yellow plate was placed a little bit to the right and downwards of the magenta. You can see that little bit of yellow shadow coming off it. Like in a perfect world, this would be perfectly aligned. But that doesn't bother me. That doesn't offend me at all. What offends me that I do not see on this copy, and I talk about this every time, guys, is when you have a sliver of white between the blue and the black border here, or the blue here and this black border, or the blue and this black border. And if you see it anywhere along here, I don't see that. It goes blue to black everywhere. I'm seeing no white sliver along any of these borders. And to me, that's one of the key things I look for, because I want this card to have very little, if any, registration issues. We do see, again, that the yellow is a little bit low and to the right, but not a big deal. That the fact, I mean, I think, is it just me seeing this? Is the word Oilers a little bit lower down than the word Edmonton here, guys?
Gosh, it looks close to be, Jeremy. It's maybe a little bit of an optical illusion.
It does look. It might be that's what I'm concerned about, Adam. That's why I'm putting it to you and the audience.
It looks a little lower to me.
Scroll in. Do this. Scroll in real close, and then see where it hits the top border of the window, and see which one hits first.
Yeah, there is. Look at that. There's a tiny. That was smart, Adam. There's a tiny little bit there. But
that shows how good your eyes are, Jeremy, because you're talking about a fraction of a millimeter.
Yeah, it's very minor, very minor.
And that's
Doesn't bother.
evident. That's evident by the oil drop, right? Like if it was way off, wouldn't the oil drop be a little bit lower down than it is?
Well, the oil drop is like the magenta plate is, it could be a tad higher, but not, I don't know. I don't know what perfect is. Like, is the top of the oil drop supposed to hit the top of where these two blue points would connect?
That's a good
I
point.
don't necessarily think so. We'd have to look at an Oilers jersey to know for sure. But Jeff Hart makes the comment here, says the oil drop is dead centered. I mean, I don't know. It's a beauty. Jacob S says, what about the edges? Let's take a look at the edges. That is definitely an important aspect of the card. And we'll take a look. We'll scroll in and we'll take a look. I got to tell you, at first glance, I absolutely love these edges. I love them. They are a little bit rough cut, which is what I want to see. This corner is not perfect. It's got a little bit of an angle issue, I'd say. Minor, though. A little bit of corner surface wear up here in the corner. But look at the edge. This is the perfect O-Pee-Chee cut for me. Absolutely gorgeous, which is funny to say on a rough cut. But to me, this is a thing of beauty, guys. This is a thing of beauty for my eyes. Yeah, I love it. I love it. All this is what you want to see. Well, I'll say what I want to see on a Gretzky rookie. Bottom left corner, has a little bit of the same issue as the top, but nothing that's like less worthy than an 8, I would say. Coming across, it's hard to see the bottom border. It's kind of covered up by the slab. Bottom right corner definitely has an issue. More corner surface wear than we're used to seeing, than we would maybe that you want to see. But still, when you zoom out, where'd it go? When you zoom out, you don't even really see it. It's just like it's there, but it's not very egregious. Doesn't bother me too much, but it is a condition issue. The right edge looks good, and the top corner, again, similar to the others. I have no issue with this being an 8 whatsoever. It's a beautiful, beautiful specimen for an 8. I would recommend it to anybody who's looking to add an 8. I also like to look at his eyes. They're pretty focused. You can tell they're not 100% perfect. And also I like to look down at the border of his legs. You can see a little bit that the yellow plate,
Yep.
You see that? I see you guys both nodding. The yellow plate is placed a little bit down and to the right. So, but listen, just because doesn't have perfect registration doesn't mean that it's a deal breaker, even for a registration snob like myself. It's still a beautiful card.
Hey, Jeremy, I mentioned it earlier in the episode, but again, I think it's worth bearing notice. The reason that we have these eye appeal stickers is to hopefully give you an opportunity to sort of say, what is PWCC seeing in this card that differentiates it? And this one does have an eye appeal sticker. It's top 15%? Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Top 15%. Yeah. And based on, and I didn't realize that before you started talking, and then listening to you talk through it sort of confirmed to me, oh, that kind of makes sense. That's why it's earning that designation. And what we've seen over and over again is those cards that have those designations do sell for more than the average cards do. And this is why, because it looks nicer than an average 8 does. And therefore
exactly. And I think this copy got that top 15% predominantly based on the centering. Because you can have off-centered 8s. It exists all the time. Just go look at the PSA grading standards, and you'll see. I mean, you can have an off-centered 10 as far as PSA grading standard goes. That fits the standard. So an 8 is going to be a lot looser. And I think that this is not higher graded because of the corners. You touch up those. I don't mean you touch up those corners a little bit, but you have slightly better corners. And this thing should be an 8.5 or a 9 all day long. I mean, it's just that nice of a card. It's the corners that hold it back. I saw a comment. Terry Fortune says that the back is great on it. And Terry owns over 100 Gretzky rookies in his personal collection. I know that because I've known Terry for about 20 years. And the back is very nice. It's not what some people can. It doesn't have those blue lines that a lot of people look for that come right down here. But we won't get into that. I think it's not that important anyway. But overall, a gorgeous copy. I know that, PWCC auction descriptions, I don't know if they still do, but they used to often say, highly recommended, or I would echo those comments. This from Jeremy Lee, this copy would come highly recommended. Yeah,
Or-
I don't like. I don't know who owns it. I just know that it's up and it's available and it's a beautiful card.
To anyone who's going through the auctions, obviously we don't have time to read the auction, the descriptions, but we have a whole team, not just one person. We have a whole team of people who work on our descriptions, and so take a real good look through there. You won't see any more of the highly recommended, as Jeremy just talked about, but some of these descriptions are really they're all really well done. So take a look if there's any you're looking to bid on. You might learn something about the card or about its condition that's important.
It's refreshing if you've only ever bought something on like eBay and their description is look at the photos.
Yeah. Right.
So no thought put into it whatsoever.
Yeah,
click the little down arrow too, Jeremy. It just keeps going.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love that. It's very thoughtful.
Look at that. There's a lot to read there. I like seeing it. I like educating the buyers and the potential audience for this card. So nicely done, PWCC, by really blowing up the asset description here. I want to welcome Ken Wood to the show. Welcome, Ken. Says, hello, gentlemen. I'm a first-time commenter. Thanks for the show. Recently started getting into vintage and bought a Gretzky Topps rookie card, PSA 5. Congratulations to you, Ken. Glad to have you. Thank you for dropping the comment, and good luck as you continue your foray into vintage. Once you go vintage, it's hard to go back. Not that you can't do it all. I've learned that as well, but thanks for joining the show. Let's see what else we have here from the crowd. Yeah, Chris Kissel gives Ken Wood some props. The Gretzky rookie is the last got-to-have card I can afford. Good luck to you, Chris, on grabbing it. Jay Mollico says the oil drop is off-center, including the Oilers. I think it's just the one plate, though. But hear what you're saying, left to right. So minor, though. Is it? So minor.
I think you might be pointing out, and maybe this is the design of the card. You would know, Jeremy, way better than I would, or maybe he would too. The Oilers itself in blue, that blue within the black is off-centered. The blue is closer to the right than it is to the left.
Yes.
I noticed that earlier as well, but I figured that was probably the design of the card.
This border here, the width of this white right here versus the width of this white right here. Good question. This is something I need to improve upon when I'm looking at them and pay more attention to them, because I don't notice that as much. I'm looking at finer details, I guess, and I should be looking at this. How well placed is the overall Oilers logo? So great call out there by Jay Mollico, if that is, and thank you, John, for bringing my attention.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing. I just was figuring, because you would focus in on the drop more, and I was like, oh, it must just be the way it is. But yeah.
Yep. Very, very good point right there. And I'm going to start, I'm glad I'm going to start pointing that out as we move forward with more Gretzky rookie cards that come through the PWCC Premier auctions. T-Dot says it could be an 8.5. Yeah, it could be. I think I don't think so. Honestly, I think those corners are going to keep it from being I don't think it can technically be an 8.5 because of the corners, even though they're, they look good from a distance. T-Dot says it's an amazing 8. I agree. And good stuff. Okay, we're good on the Gretzky, right? My job is done. Let's close it out. And
the broadcast. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining us. This show's over. I kid. But it is worthy to note, everybody, that we are halfway through the first half hour of the 2-minute extended bidding windows. So it is right now in my time zone, as you can see down here, it is right now 9:15 p.m. That is 8:15 Pacific time. And from 8 till 8:15, we have 2-minute window, but it looks like this is resetting to 2 minutes on the regular right now as bids keep on coming in. But as soon as we get to 8:30 Pacific, 9:30 Mountain time, it's going to be a 1-minute extended bidding window. So with all that said, let's just sit up here for a moment, look at the bids coming in. Nice to see Kareem rookie getting I think this is a PSA 8, has a bid at 26,000. I always feel like I might be a little behind. I could run a refresh here, but
I love that Jordan too. The SPX is the autographed one.
28K on that. Near mint 8. I think the auto had a 10. Kaboom Kobe. Maybe that's one of Shayway Blogs' cards, because he shouted out those words earlier tonight. But look, the bids are coming in fast and furious here. So every time a bid comes in,
you're way behind though. That Jordan is up to 23,000. And I was going to tell you, I was trying to jump in there for a little while, but you're so excited about the end of the Gretzky. We have officially a new record on a Hank Aaron card. So the card is now up to $600. So $720,000 out the door is officially the most expensive, the biggest sell for Hank Aaron card ever. And so that's pretty awesome to see that one right now.
There it is right there. $600,000 to $720,000. That is pretty awesome. We are sorted by highest price first right now. And these can bounce around a bit, but two Tom Brady's leading the charge. One's over $1 million already. The other one is also at $720,000. Some big numbers right there. I saw a comment. I'm gonna just hover right here for a moment, but I saw a comment here from Jay Mollico. I think he's talking about Jay Mollico. Confirm for me if I'm wrong. Are you talking about the Joe Montana? I think you are, because I am also of the belief that the Joe Montana did about $110,000 or so not too long ago in a PSA 10. And here we have another copy at 55,000. I'd love to know the population on this. I know that I think it's like 190 to 110, somewhere in there is my understanding.
This one's also got the high eye appeal, though. It's got the E rating, which puts in the top 15 as well. So,
and thanks for pointing that out. I also want to notice that there is even a better sticker, a better eye appeal rating called the Superior, the S, for the top 5%. So just to keep that in mind. But that said, the top 15% is pretty darn special. I'm looking at the back. First thing I notice is the back is off-centered, but that's well within PSA's tolerance for centering. You look at the front. I mean, that as Chris Sewell from Baseball Card Collector Investor Dealer would say, this is a card right out of the Blazer division. This is a stunning, stunning card. I'm a big fan of the Joe. I showed you my painting of the Bill Russell. I have this card painted as well, hanging in my basement, just on the other side of my wall right there. I love the Joe Montana rookie. I've been chasing a Joe Montana rookie since about 1985. I have one now, but the chase started for me in 85 for a Montana rookie. I love it. I love it. All right. Jeff Hart says the PWCC eye appeal sticker on the Alcindor, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, is a really nice copy. Very nice. And Mollico, I knew what you were talking about. You and I are on the same wavelength. All right. Let's see what else I have up here, okay? I've got a whole bunch of cards ready to look at. Let's see what they are. We talked about the 48 Bowman autograph Jackie Robinson already, so I'm going to close that one out. We talked about the Bill Russell. We're going to close it out. These are, I believe, my favorites, so we'll just leave that because they're all up here anyway. 1951 Hank Aaron. That's what this is. I guess it's going to refresh for us. But I just have to let you guys know that the 51 Willie Mays, that's what I meant to say. The 51 Willie Mays is a card that I've been after for a long time. And PSA 6 would be right in my wheelhouse. However, the centering on this copy, I would rather buy a 4 with better centering and maybe, a little bit worse corners or edges than this particular copy. And this is actually a pretty low price for a PSA 6 Willie Mays. And that's probably due to the centering and perhaps even the old, the early grade date of this particular card. But overall, I can tell you, I look at these cards all the time. It has none of those print line. It does have a little bit of it right here. Actually, it has a little bit of that print as soon as this focuses for us, which should be momentarily. You can see a bit of this line coming right here. Oftentimes, this line will extend all the way down the card, and sometimes you'll see it in two places. You can see the registration is off a little bit, right? The black plate is a bit offset to the right. You can see a little bit of a issue there in his ear. That black line there should be over here. But what I like about it, well, the fisheye here on the name bar as well. Pretty serious one, actually. A couple of blemish or minor fisheyes right there. So this card, I would venture to say, if this card was graded today, it would not get a 6 anymore. And that is probably reflected by the price. I think that tells me that people are smart and they recognize that, this card is likely not a 6 anymore. It seems to have a bit of fading up here too. But that said, it's probably a really strong 5. Comments from either of you guys?
I love how you break it down. The first thing that I noticed when I look at this card is also the centering, and you talk about how important that is to the eye appeal. It's not shocking this one doesn't have a sticker, but still, I mean, the rest of the card is fantastic, and it's a Willie Mays rookie card, and so I'd love to have any Willie Mays rookie card, but you understand why this one didn't grade higher.
Agree. Yeah, for sure. I'm with you. I still love to own it, but I've literally been waiting about 15 years to buy one of these cards, and the cost has quadrupled on me. So we'll see what I end up with, but very nice card overall. Let's talk about these mantles. John, I know you're a basketball card guy, but even you can appreciate these cards, right? And understand the significance. I say even you, just because you're such a basketball card fanatic guy, but these are such important cards. Before we do look at them, very quickly, let's look at Vintage Card Collector. Says a 54 Hank PSA 10 did 357,000 in 2012. Must be worth 3 million plus now. Yeah, I'm with you. Jay Mollico confirms 108 PSA 10 Joe Montana's. I think I said 90 to 110, so I was in the range. And Pokélad says the constant 2-minute warnings are weird. When do these auctions actually end? Well, they end as soon as there's no bid during any 2-minute period, Pokélad. So that's why every time a bid is placed, that thing resets. And in 8 minutes, it'll change to a 1-minute timer. And Jay Mollico says almost 25K graded on the Willie Mays, I believe. All right, let's look at these mantles now, because I find these two very interesting. And it's interesting to me also because they're the same grade by two different grading companies. And that's what I find really interesting, is looking at the consistency in grading between the grading companies that are, known to be or the most reputable, the incumbents, as I sometimes call them, being PSA, BGS, SGC, CSG. I consider those to be the big four manual grading companies, human grading companies. We do have automated grading companies coming around. TAG is launching next week at the Burbank show in Los Angeles. And I'm going to be there. I'm going to be at that show. I can't wait to see that. In any event, let's look at these. We have a SGC3. And let's start at the top, guys. And you can see a bit of surface wear right here, which continues throughout. You see a lot of, surface wear, snowflakey, as some people call it, including myself. Corners and edges, respectable, completely respectable. Even this guy here for a 3. Like that, this doesn't bother me. This is pretty much exactly what I want to see. A little, like some edge surface wear right up here. Nice natural rounding with the fray coming off it. Very natural. I love that. I want that on my lower grade vintage cards. Edge looks just fine. I have nothing offends me. This corner here is basically the exact same thing we have going on with the top right corner. Bottom edge looks as nice as can be. Bit more of edge, some corner surface wear here. I love the fray. I love the perfectly naturally rounded corner. I mean, that to me just tells me this is a wonderful card. So here we have some edge surface wear. Nothing too crazy. That's a bit of an eyesore, but when you zoom out, I bet it's hardly noticeable. Well, it's noticeable, but it's not that bad. And hey, it's graded a 3. And then again, the overall surface wear. Like this card, unless there's a wrinkle or a crease somewhere, which I can't see, like this might be very conservatively graded. I don't know. But again, I'll go here for a moment and hit this button here and see if we can see any. It's going to be tough to notice. There's something here that might be on the slab itself, but I'm not really seeing much. So I think this is a wonderful card for a 3. I'd prefer that the surface didn't have as much wear and that this sort of teal background was more vibrant. Guys, let's look at the PSA 3 now, all right? And do the comparison. Right away.
Yes.
I don't know if the SGC is overgraded or the PSA is, or sorry, if the SGC is undergraded or the PSA is overgraded, but I can tell you right away that I'd pay a lot more for this copy. And let's see what the market thinks, 65K versus this copy, 55K. So we're now, this tells me that the people looking at these cards are buying the card. PSA often gets premiums because of its brand, not because of it's a better grader, simply because they have the brand. That's really the only reason. Of course, the set registry helps as well. But to me, this card, let's look at it. We have more corner surface wear, but a nicely naturally rounded corner. I mean, you have the surface wear pretty serious up in this area here. Top corner, it's what you want to see. Coming down. This guy right here, though. This right here. Let's zoom out and have a look at that. I don't know about you guys, but my eye goes to this thing right here. Surface blemish, pretty serious marking to me. Again, it's a PSA 3. You'd expect that. You might have a small, I don't know if that's a crease or just like edge surface wear right there. Something going on there. That's a fine corner. That doesn't bother me at all. Very little edge surface wear, but you've obviously got the corner. I love the fray coming off it. This isn't pretty, but it's also not that big when you zoom out. So again, we're looking at a 3. Bottom left corner is like exactly what you want to see on a 3. I would say, we've got some edge surface wear here, more of it here, little thing here. I think that's in all the cards though.
To me, Jeremy, it feels more like this one feels like a 3, and you sort of look back at the SGC and go, "Why is it a 3?" Like,
agreed.
As you point out all that stuff, especially the centering, it's just like you want to dive deeper into this card and go, "Why is this a 3?"
Well, and this one didn't get a sticker, right? This one doesn't have a sticker distinction from PWCC on it.
No, it doesn't. This one definitely doesn't, and the SGC doesn't either.
Yeah, I feel like the SGC could deserve it based on that comparison.
It feels like it.
I would argue that it does, but I haven't seen enough SGC 3s, as many as the higher ups at PWCC has, to make that designation. Plus, I think the surface wear must maybe keep it from achieving that designation as well, especially up over here. But listen, this is a beauty. Like, as far as the 3 goes, this is a way nicer card for me than this card. I do think that this is undergraded, unless there's something we can't see, which there very easily could be. We got to say that. And this is probably graded properly. It looks like a 3 to me. It's probably what I would have guessed if I was asked what would this grade. This one, I probably would have guessed a 5, right? So to me, but look, the market is saying this is worth $10,000 more than this. And I think that's bang on right. Maybe even more so. And we'll see where they end. It's still not over. We still have time left in the auction. So, but this was a fun one to look at. We didn't even look at the backs. Let's take a quick look at the backs just to not make sure we don't miss anything that's too obvious. The SGC, the back looks like gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And the tops, not so gorgeous. I mean, you got a bit of a stain right there, which you see on a ton of vintage cards, and I actually don't mind that at all, but it's there. You got more of it over here, and then you got a bunch of it over here. So, yeah, to me, this is a 3, this is a 5, and we'll see what the hobby thinks when this is all said and done tonight. All right, let's go to some comments, guys. If that's okay.
There's a comment from T. Jones there, if it's towards the bottom. 2 styles. Yeah. I've never heard of this. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I can. So there's 2 styles of the mantle, and neither of these are the ones that I prefer. So I'll show you what the differences are. Let's do it on the card we like looking at more. So first of all, notice this box around the Yankee symbol. You got black line, black line, black line, and then nothing under here. On the other version, you've got black line under here. I think there's also something around the border of the star border here. On the other version, I think you have a solid black line around that as well. And I don't necessarily know if I see it here along the top. The other thing is that I believe this little white dot here is like a common printing error that's on almost all the copies that don't have the black underline here. I could be wrong on that, but I do believe that's see, there it is right there again. I think the other variant doesn't have that. So when I've looked at 52 tops mantles for myself, I always look for ones that have because I think it just looks kind of incomplete without the black line across the bottom here. So that, I believe, are the two variants. Hey, look at this. Slavic tells us that the SGC has a crease on the top left. So
that I was wondering about that surfacey stuff.
This here.
You have to ask if it's just a hairline. And it's got to be, I guess. Because otherwise it'd have to have the sticker, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. If those are creases and not just... But it's hard to see it in the white, and that's because it's white, of course, the border. It's easier to see on the blue, so, and the black as well. You do see it there. So if that's a crease, then I understand it. But hey, some creases are okay, you know? Not all creases are deal breakers for me, that's for sure. Oh, says the 3D image shows it well. All right, let's go take a look at that. That's something we should do. So let's do this. And let's find the view of it that shows it well.
You can tilt it so you can see. Yeah, there you go. Oh.
Can you zoom too? Does it let you zoom as well, or are you in as far as you can from where?
Yeah, I'm in as far as I can get.
It's zoom,
a little clunky.
You can zoom it, but you can't turn it after you zoom it. So find the right image and then zoom is what I would say.
Zoom and then do that. Bring it to the same thing.
Find the right angle here and then you can zoom in. Just by clicking on it.
Oh, that's cool.
Look at
that.
Now
you can't turn it is the problem.
Right. Okay, well, we'll believe Slavic that there's something there, and that's okay. That's okay. But it doesn't explain it.
Yes,
it still presents beautifully. Okay. Well, let's why don't we do this? I'm going to close out the mantles for now. That was fun, everybody. Hopefully I don't need to go back to them because that'll take some time. Let's rest up here. I'm going to actually refresh this, unshare the screen so we can get nice big pictures of these handsome fellas. And let's go to some comments and see what you guys have been talking about here for the last several minutes. Moloko says that the centering is too distracting on the PSA copy, which I do agree with. Says, I always feel it's much harder to grade a card below 5 than anything. Yeah, I mean, Moloko, I don't know if we're the same person here, but I agree. And their comment was also made somewhere that there's more variability on the lower grades. I saw that comment, and it's very true. Not all 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s are the same. That's obvious. There aren't even just 3. There's not even just weak, average, and strong. There's like a million different conditions in each grade point. And that's why the industry standard grading scale is very limited in its scope. It doesn't give you, a real good, accurate indication of what condition your card is in. It gives you a range of conditions. And that's something that people, I think, need to understand. I think a lot more people understand that now versus before. Slavic says the PSA 3 is a great card, looks much better in person. Interesting. So you've seen it in person. That's pretty cool, Slavic. Is it your card? Be curious to know. Yeah, we heard about, okay, there's that. T-Dot says the black borders are squared or rounded on one of the images. Thank you very much. Shayway Vlog says, Kaboom Kobe doing well. The hobby is alive and well. The hobby is alive and well, Shayway. Thank you for that, for stating what I consider to be the obvious, but not everybody else does. That's for sure. The hobby is doing well. You just have to, if you were at the National a couple of weeks ago, I mean, there were a lot of people there. People were buying, selling, trading. Of course, at any card show, people are going to walk around and ask if dealers are buying. I don't know. Let me just tell you guys something. I've heard a lot of people on podcasts, Instagram, YouTube, wherever, say everyone was selling their cards. I've never been to a card show where people weren't walking around saying, are you buying? It's been going on for 35 years, people. It's not a new concept. So that is not a sign that anything's wrong with the hobby. I think the good thing is that people can now afford many more cards than they could, 6-8 months ago.
Hey, Jeremy, okay. we're in the final, we're in the minute stage, and so we're seeing pretty hot and heavy bidding right now, which is kind of fun.
Well, look at this beauty that we've talked about. It's up to 115 plus BP, KD, RPAs at 25,000.
Show your screen.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Adam.
You're good.
I see us.
Come on. There we go.
We've been doing the show together for a while, Jeremy. I can feel it. I'm like, okay, I know what's happening right now.
I do rely on you to catch that as soon as possible because I always have the other screen right there. I can see it.
I know you're crushing it.
I appreciate that.
115. I that might be a record. We keep track of these things pretty closely. I think it'll be interesting to see if
probably
that's
is
for a duel of those two.
I want to say hello to C-Dub Cards. Welcome to the live show. Glad to have you. Vintage Card Collector wants us to compare the PSA 8 Star Jordan to the BGS 8.5 and 8 copies. That could be fun. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, Sandy Koufax. I love that card. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at there. There
goes the Russell.
There's Bill Russell's best card of all time. Oh, and there's another Russell with a 5.5 getting a bid. People are listening. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, what I'm going to do is let's see what else we have here. 81 Topps Joe Montana. We talked about that. I'm going to close it out. Here's the Jeter again. Made it onto the YouTube thumbnail for this episode because I think it's such a great card. But we talked about that. So good luck to the seller. Good luck to the eventual new owner of this card. What a great card that is. The Jambalaya. MJ, we haven't talked about this yet, and you and I both own a copy of this card. Do you own a copy of this card, John?
I do not. I would love a copy of that card, but I do not have one.
You should buy this one.
I know. I'm too late. I didn't get in early enough.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
he's too late. But this is obviously Adam and I both have copies, and I noticed that the edges are a 7.5. And I looked at the card, and like I can't imagine that this is edge damaged because it's so uniform across the top, across the whole border.
Maybe the back of it. The back of it might have some chipping that they're counting on the edges.
The top is where you usually see it, Jeremy.
Yep.
But to be a 7.5?
No, it's not. You're right. It's that. I think it's that front. I think it's that. It's not white. It's like a yellow or something that's along the top there.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I mean, or are we getting it at an angle that's is that the top border? Is that the edge? Or is that actually is that edge or surface is my question. I don't know. I can't tell. Maybe
can you do the 360? Yeah, there you go.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah, don't zoom until you turn it.
So right now we are tilted. Yeah, we're tilted, right? That must be edge.
I think it is.
Sorry, surface. That must be surface. So that must be why it got such a poor edge score. But listen, that's not the end of the world. Like, I don't know. That doesn't bother me that much about the card.
8.5 maybe feels right to me though. That's that little bit of darker.
And they're supposed to be a little bit imperfect on the top. A friend of mine who has bought and sold a lot of these explained to me that there was a whole set that came off of uncut sheets and that people were cutting them perfectly, more perfectly than they were originally. And so if you have a very perfect rounded top without a little hiccup, well, you can see the little hiccup there. Yep. That little hiccup is very much classic, true, real jambalaya. That's how they were cut. So as you always say, Jeremy, that's something you want to see in these cards, you know? So
exactly. Jay Mollico puts in a very astute question where he says, what do they consider the corners? I think that they just give them a 10 because they're so perfect you can't even see them. Because I've never seen this card without a 10 for corners. So I don't.
You guys remember the inserts? Adam probably does. They inserted those fabric little mini jerseys into packs. It was Upper Deck, I think, did them. They had like little mini jerseys that looked like they go on dolls or something, but they came in packs of cards. Yeah. And some people got those graded and they had corner grades. And I'm like, how? They're little mini fabric jerseys. That's a totally irrelevant, subgrade.
To be honest, I don't even think that a subgrade makes sense as far as centering goes, because you've got two different subgrades for centering. You got front centering and rear centering. And how do you decide how to meld those two assessments into one final number? It's really difficult. You have to arbitrarily decide what to weight the front versus the back.
I barely grade, as you guys probably know, but isn't there I don't know the exact numbers, but don't the companies weigh them like front 60, back 40? Isn't there some known kind of, I've heard that before. Again, I'm not an expert in that zone. So
yeah, I suppose so. I personally think that, Well, it's a whole other story, but I just don't know. Subgrades are interesting, but I don't think that they tell a perfect. I don't think they perfectly tell the story as they are. But in any event, they tell a story and give us an indication of the condition of the card, and that's very important. Great card. $24,000 for an 8.5. We've seen 9.5 sell as recently for 126,000 down and as low as 76,000. So it'll be interesting to see where this one lands. I could see it getting a few more bids towards the end of the auction. Let's close that one out. Oh, and before we do, I want to bring up this one comment here from C-Dub. He says, John doesn't have an MJ card. That is not something I hear much.
True, C-Dub.
Very good, very good. And then this is the card that I wanted to buy tonight. Look at this. You zoom in and it gives you this weird glitch in the zooming, hey? And then it goes away. Very interesting. But I do love this card. Again, it's jambalaya. You do have a bit of the notch here, which is funny because this card came out, what is that, 6 years later, and it still had the same sort of issue, which is really interesting. Same machine.
It's a good thing. Like you said earlier about some of the other cards, it's something you want to look for. The ones that are very perfect on that zone were ones where people cut them after the fact. That's what I've been told. So
exactly.
Hey, I think we have a new record on a modern Bill Russell, sort of verifying what we were talking about earlier. It's at 57.5 right now, which means that it's right towards 70,000. Maybe is that a little bit more than 70,000, Jeremy? No, just a little
bit under. I think it's
a little bit less than 70, like 68.
55.
I think that's a record for any modern Russell card. So, which is not shocking because it really is. It's the best modern day Bill Russell card that there is. So nice to see that. And the other one that I wanted to point out.
Hold on one sec, Adam. I need to say a special hello to my friend Lorena Duke, Tim and Lorena Duke from the Wisconsin Dells show. Just great to see. It was great. I have to give a shout out here because it was so awesome to see Lorena at the National. John, do you know Lorena and Tim?
No, not by name at least.
Well, they set up the National, and I just saw, just great people. Lorena had some health issues and is recovering, and was very kind to me at the National, and people that I just really admire and enjoy in this hobby. Check them out at a card show at the Wisconsin Dells show. They ran that show with who co-ran that show with at the Wisconsin Dells last. Anyway, great people. Want to shout them out, and thanks for joining the show. Always good to see them. Adam, go ahead.
So a couple of things. Gerald pointed out in the chat that we've seen a couple of, or at least one other Russell sell for more. I'm not sure that was at public auction, but I might be wrong on that. And then the other thing that I wanted to point out real quick is your Brady that you love so much is soaring. It's at 140 pre. So and that's I haven't really kept track of those as much, but that seems like it's that's certainly getting towards the upper end of what we've seen for any of those flawless autograph patch Brady's. So 145 now pre.
Grant Slayton, Lorena reminds us. Waldorf Stories on Instagram is who co-ran the Wisconsin Dells show with Tim and Lorena. So great hobbyists right there. And just glad to see your name in the chat here, Lorena. Okay. Des, thank you for that great analysis. I think on the mantles, because that was a little bit earlier. Des says the top back edge is what I'm seeing on the MJ. Yeah, we noticed that as well. So good thing we're all seeing the same things right there. T-Dot says, shouldn't they have a hand cut designation if they were cut from a sheet? Goes on to say, back centering is not that important. I mean, that to me, that's a subjective comment. I don't believe that to be true, T-Dot. I think it's not that important to you. And that's fair. And I think a lot of people would share that view, but I don't consider that to be a rule of the hobby. I think that is something for people to decide individually for themselves. 24K, C-Dub says that's on the jambalaya. C-Dub wants to, how often do you guys run this show? This C-Dub, Adam and I have been doing this show together now for the first episode of this was May of 2021, because that is when PWCC introduced the Premier Auction. Prior to that, I was covering some of their auction endings on eBay, and then they went off of eBay, went onto their own platform, and we just stuck with a Premier Auction once a month. So May, June, July. This is the 16th episode of us covering this once a month, whenever it ends, or each month. And it's fun. Thank you for joining. Couple comments from Gerald. Lorena loves me back. Thank you so much. Oh, Gerald knows Lorena. Jay Malico says, I need to auction my PSA 10 Brady Emerald now. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, it keeps climbing right now. It's a 160 now, almost 200 grand out the door.
Yeah. And T-Dot says it's an unwritten rule of the hobby based on grading. Talking about the centering on the back. Yeah. I mean, of course, it's less interesting because it's on the back and people look at the back less than they look at the front. But I still think there's importance to it. But that's just me speaking for myself and for other people that think the same thing, for sure.
Hey, Jeremy, there's another new, I think it's a new record. The Franz Beckenbauer, we keep talking about soccer at the end of these auctions. That
this
one
guy
right
here?
there, yeah, it shows. I don't know why it shows for you at 34. I think you're behind again. It's at 67.5. The thing that I point out about this one is this is the only PSA 9, and there aren't any higher. We've seen this card a couple of times in the Premier Auction in an 8, but this is the only 9. And like we've talked about each of the last couple of shows, the vintage soccer market for significant players and significant cards is really just taken off. I had somebody tip me off earlier today, and they said, "Watch this one. This one's going to really fly at the end." And here we are. So not shocking.
There it is, up to date at 67.5 now. And yeah, as I sit on, it doesn't auto refresh, I guess, for me, but that's why I can refresh every so often. The clock is ticking down, 14 seconds right now. So we had a question right here from Blair Sullivan. Says, what time do these usually end?
It switched. It switched.
Yeah. These episodes usually last for about 3 hours. We went live at 6:30 Pacific. So we are about 45 minutes away from the auction ending. We usually end it when the auction ends. I could see this one ending a little bit earlier than last month because there's about 100 fewer lots, which is nice for us. We get to, not because I think we've gone as long as like 3.5 to 3 hours, 45 minutes in the past, even. Like these take a while.
It could end. We're at the point now, extended this little window here in the upper right-hand corner that says time remaining. It just got down to, I think, 9 seconds. And if it gets down to 0 and there are no bids, then that is the end of it, right? Like the thing that we want to be able to design here is really an efficient auction where you have a few hours for extended bidding, and then it doesn't go into the wee hours of the night. And as Jeremy just pointed out perfectly, we've got fewer items this time. And so this would be a case that wouldn't be shocking if we ended a lot earlier than we did last month, because the more auctions you have, the more likely you're going to have an item bid on in a 60-second window.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And if you're tuning in for the first time as well, like extended bidding, that whole notion of that might be new. And the notion there is just so that you don't have someone come in and snipe at the last second. It's giving the other people that have bid on the items time to respond and rebid themselves. And so that's kind of a really nice feature of that aspect. And in extended bidding, where we are now, no one else can go and jump in and bid on any of these cards if you haven't already bid on them, which is another important point. So we're just seeing people hash it out now that have already bid on these cards before, and they're having the last chance to go in and, try and outbid the person who bid last. So it's a smaller community. Just want to point that out for people that are tuning in.
John, great points. The only other thing I'd add to that is that this is why you see so many people bidding early, because we have bidders. We have bidders that go in and bid on literally 100 different items because they want the chance in extended bidding to be able to bid. And the other thing that I point out is our non-pay rate on our Premier Auction is about 1%, a little bit less than 1%. People don't skip out on paying. Everybody's verified. And so, what you're seeing here is people who are really, truly trying to win these cards.
Another way of saying it is that in order to qualify to bid an extended, you got to get a bid in before 7 p.m. Pacific. You have to qualify for extended bidding by putting in a bid. And as John said, yes, it's to help those people not get sniped. I like sniping though, so it works against my eBay strategy. But you just have to strategize differently. And like Adam said, He said, we've got people that bid on 100 items. I've heard people tell me they bid on every item just so that they can get in on some steals at the end. That might, I don't think that would really apply to the weekly auction because there's so many more thousands of cards there. But I've heard people say they bid on just hundreds and hundreds of lots so that they can come in at the end and find some great steals. So
it does. It feels to me, Jeremy, like we're really getting there. This might be it here with we've gotten to 10 now, 4 different times. It's going to refresh because it just did.
Yeah.
It feels like we're almost there. We've gotten a pretty good sense of this.
Yeah.
I think after having done this for a while, if you're bidding now, guys, like don't take it for granted that we're going to be here for another 45 minutes. I don't think we are.
I want to go to
those 2 Jordans that are what's getting hit, those last 2.
Yeah.
That's a pop 1, that 97. Not every day you see a serial numbered 90s Jordan that's a pop 1. I looked the population up on that in hand and I went, oh wow, there's only one of these. Kind of cool.
Very cool. I want to bring up T-Dot's comment here. It says, you love busting my balls. So I do have a response to that, T-Dot. It said, T-Dot, your takes are like 75% good, 25% questionable. So that's it. I only bust your balls on the 25%. Here's another one of those 25%. This one right here. This seems like the least robust auction volume and cool card wise. It's the time of year. And I'm just kidding. That's not necessarily a bad take at all. But I think that this auction actually has a lot of really great cards in it. But I do agree it's less robust than other ones. But we're also like 100 cards lower as far as total lots in the last couple of months. So I think it goes without saying. And that is a pretty good take. And it probably is the time of year. It's vacation season. It's off season. It's
Jeremy,
lower. We're in a bit of a down market.
You know what else it is? You know what else it is we had the date
National.
you had to have your items in by was just right after National. And so there are other places that we've seen. It used to be, it's hard for people to believe this, but it used to be that some of the graders didn't grade during the month of the National because that was such an important time for them. There used to be auction houses that didn't take cards during that time. There's a reason why there's so many fewer, and I would guess that has a lot to do with the fact that it's right after National.
Yeah, I think you're right. Blair Sullivan says the clock got to 0 brutal. I don't think there's anything brutal about it, Blair. I think what happens is that you're seeing that it takes a few seconds, as we've learned.
This could be it.
I think that's going to be it. Oh no, it went up.
It's it.
Oh no, it did. That's right, because it sold 4, right?
Yep, that's the end.
That's it.
That's it. It's over. So that was a pretty quick one. I just want to continue talking about this comment here that the clock got to 0. Just because it shows 0 doesn't mean that there wasn't a bid that came in. We've learned this over months of watching, that it just doesn't necessarily work that way. That's just, I think, a timing issue. So nothing brutal about that at all. Blair Sullivan. T-Dot says eBay should do that as far as extended bidding goes. That would be interesting for sure if they would. We'll go through a few more comments here. Dallas Mooney says, sniping is definitely the way. When I first got back into the hobby, I took more of a shotgun approach, had fun, but learned the hard way. Definitely, I'm with you for sure. Lorena Duke says, speaking of Jeremy, do you recall that Gretzky lethal weapon superpower we sold you last year at the National? We just picked up a PSA 10. Pop 1. Congratulations, Lorena. But I actually picked up the Mario Lemieux from you guys. Did I get a Gretzky also? I know I got a Lemieux from you guys in an SGC holder. I don't know that I got a Gretzky from you also. Maybe I did, but congrats. A Pop 1. Oh my God. To me, that's an amazing underappreciated card. Blair says, I just mean brutal because I want it to end. So the agony. Oh, I see, Blair. I see. Got it. Thanks for clarifying. And T-Dot says, been watching Heritage Auction. Amazing cards. Any guess on the 9.5 mantle? That's interesting. Yeah, I'm going to guess 11 million. We'll see. Blair, thank you for the comment. Really appreciate it very much. All right, guys, let's do this now. We didn't get to all these cards up here, so I want to take a look at them. But no pressure on either of you guys to stick around, but love it if you would. So I'm going to take a look at we did the jambalaya, ended at 8,400. So there were no more. If I would have bid, I would have won this card.
So the bid that you would have made would have been the same that this sold for. So the question is whether this person who won would have. But I think this is a great buy, Jeremy. Like, I think that's a great. If you want a really rare LeBron rookie for under 10 grand, that's a great buy.
It totally is. Maybe what this will do is set a new comp at 84, and I can buy the next one maybe around the same price. You know, we had this Sidney Crosby BGS 10 auto 10 SP Authentic Future Watch Auto rookie. This to me is one of his best rookie cards. I love it. I own a copy. I used to own this exact card in a 1010. I sold it through PWCC in 2016 for $1,800.
I held this one in hand, and I did the video on it, and it's just a gorgeous card, man. I love my holofoil, and that one doesn't really have a whole lot of holofoil, but it stood out to me being a 1010.
And look at this one here. This is the high gloss Connor McDavid. So the high gloss is the most important, or it's the rarest parallel of the Young Gun. These are big cards, only 10 of them made. This one, where's the serial number? I can't even see the serial number on these. Where is it? Is it on the, oh, there it is. 7 of 10 right there.
That's hidden.
Yeah, right? It was tough to see. I was like, it's on the back. Yeah. Anyway, great card. BGS 9 is a very strong grade for this card. And, well, I shouldn't say very strong. It's a fair grade for the card. And $50,400. Nice to see Connor McDavid hockey getting so much love lately. Hockey in general getting a ton of love lately in the hobby, which is great. This is a big card, too. I'm surprised it actually didn't sell for more, I guess. And here's his RPA.
Oh,
PSA 9 did 102,000.
I was going to ask you to compare it. You already had it up.
Yeah, it did $102,000. We saw his PSA 10 sell on eBay Probstein last week, I think, for $205,000. And here's a PSA 9 for half the price. With the inconsistency of grading, I would buy this one for half the price all day long. Like, it's a no-brainer for me. This is the one I would have bought, but they're both out of my range. So I think this is a great score for whoever got this card. I think that's actually a great deal on this card. And then we were asked earlier to look at this, and I'm sorry it took so long. I just want to clarify one thing. Yeah, this is a photo shoot jersey, but it's still a beautiful card. Absolutely stunning card. 3 of 10. It's a rookie year. I consider it an RPA, but it's not an official rookie card, but who cares? It's just as good in my opinion. Nice card. Great autograph. Actually, autograph here looks better than the autograph on the RPA. The RPA had a bit of streakiness to it, right? Right through there, through there. Great cards overall. Nice to see hockey getting some nice sales. I think, we've seen this card sell before. Maybe not this exact one. I used to think it was a $25,000 to $30,000 card. I think last time we saw one sell, it sold for under 20 is my poor memory on it. But I think this is awesome.
This is, in my opinion, Jeremy, this is a far superior looking card than the RPA is. And the thing that I don't love about the RPA, I hate to bash on something that I don't know, but Exquisite had a couple of years, and apparently the Cup did too, where they signed over something that was written, over text, and it just bothers me every time I see it. But having said that, I get that this is one of the most iconic, modern day hockey cards. So I totally get it, right?
Dude, you're right. You're absolutely right. This is a design flaw right here. Upper Deck, I don't think that they ever should have put words there. I mean, put it somewhere else, put it up here across the top. I don't know, do something else.
Or make it really light, like really light. Like that is just competing with the autograph way too much.
You're right. And you know what? I never critiqued it that much, or it never really jumped out at me as it does now that you call it out, guys. Whereas this is presents
it's clean,
so much better. I agree.
Especially
you also have the tendency where people like the vertical cards more than the horizontal, which I don't totally understand that rationale. Ultimately, for me, if it's a nicer patch and a nicer autograph, I don't mind if it's horizontal. But there are a lot of people that really like the vertical cards more than the horizontal ones too. That probably plays a role here as well.
Is the reason that this one sold for 4 times as much because it's the Cup versus Ultimate? Is that basically the reason, Jeremy?
Exactly. And it's a true RPA versus a non-true RPA is another part of it.
Is the other one a parallel of the base card, though?
Well, that's a good question. I don't think so, because the base card is a rookie card out of 99 with an on-card auto, no patch from Ultimate.
What's the number on the back?
Yeah.
It's not. You're right. It's not. Yeah.
It's like a limited logo or something like that, right? But it's called an autograph. It's a debut thread. So, but it's still, it's still the ultimate collections version of the RPA. He doesn't have any other RPA in this set that I can think of that is like an RPA. So to me, it's an RPA through and through, even though technically, because of these not being numbered with the same set, it's not considered as such by the fickle hobby that we are. But to me, it's just as good. So, okay, I want to go to some comments, guys, and then we can just kind of do a review of the top 24 from the auction, and then maybe wrap up. So I'll hover here, and I'm just going to go to some comments. Mollico tells us the Brady flawless at 198K. Very, very good. Very good. Alexander says signed Jackie rookie outsells the PSA 8, and the signed 41 play ball Joe DiMaggio outsells the PSA 7. Signed vintage getting a lot of love. Very nice. T-Dot says, I love how Probstein is big on hockey. Terry Fortune says the other PSA 10 McDavid, well, not the other one, because this one was a 9, but that PSA 10 McDavid was trimmed. Yeah, I saw some rumblings about that as well. Yeah, Cup is the brand as well, for sure, Mollico. Facebook user says, if I'm corrected, I've heard that McDavid Ultimate patch was swapped out. I didn't know that about this copy, but we hear about it. And Dave Kaplan says, we sold one like that a while ago. Dave does some consignment selling on eBay. All right. Oh, and Latrell Spreewell joins us in the chat, says, Adam, when is the podcast coming back? I'm a loyal subscriber. I realize you're involved in a million things right now, but my baby and I miss the show. and before you answer, Adam, I just want to say that I just came back yesterday from a flight to Zurich. I was in Switzerland for like 4 days up until yesterday, and I listened to podcasts there and back, and there was no basketball card podcast for me to listen to. So I'm with you. Latrell Spreewell is the dream. Adam, please.
So I've been creating probably an average of 15 hours of content a week, which maybe isn't anything compared to the one and only Jeremy Lee. But the good thing is, actually, like, the PWCC podcast is where I've basically moved to at this point. I don't know if it's feasible for me to go out and have another podcast at this point. Between the episodes of the hobby and the episodes of the Iconic 100 that we've done, there's about 2 hours of me podcasting a week that's out there right now on the PWCC podcast network. So do yourself a favor, go to Spotify, go to Apple Music or whatever, just type in PWCC or type in, sports cards or something like that, and you'll find the PWCC podcast. Subscribe to that. Listen to me. Listen to Jeremy's show too. I listen to Jeremy's shows. I seriously probably listen to Jeremy 3 hours a week at this point, which is hilarious. But yeah, go check that out.
Says I do too much podcasting. I got to show you guys what a text message I just got.
Oh, look at that.
So someone won the Gretzky that we were looking at and just sent me a picture of it and of their winning caption. So congratulations to the new owner of this card. And he goes on to say, I'll just read what he says. He goes, I went with my gut on the eye appeal and crossed my fingers on a positive review. I think in terms of maybe a resub for an 8.5. He says, don't know if I could have owned that one without the seal of approval. Thank you. So I guess that person was relying or looking for whatever I had to say. So I got to say, that's very gratifying for me to know that providing that seal of approval on that card incentivize someone to make a bid and buy it. And I do not feel, sometimes I might be, oh, wait, did I get involved? I'm okay. That card, as I said, I would be proud to own it. I would advise anyone to own that card. So I don't think that I steered anybody wrong there. John, you want something?
I think we need to add to the title. We got podcaster, host, and personal shopper. I think we got to add there too.
Right on. Right on. Well, congratulations to that person. I know who you are, and I'm really happy for you. Okay. Let's do this. I like to go through the top 24 in terms of pricing and value. And then it makes a nice clip, a nice shorter clip on the YouTube channel later on. So I'm going to do a resort. We'll run through that. And then some final comments. While I'm sorting, though, John, Adam, anything you'd like to say or talk about or mention?
I'd love to see that LeBron that you looked at earlier, the limited logos. I don't know if it landed in the top 24, but I'd love to see where that ended up. The one that had the quote unquote 2-color patch that had a very little gold at the top that you guys were talking about before I joined. I'm always fascinated by those because, one, the autograph on it was beautiful. I mean, it's just an absolutely beautiful autograph. It's rookie year. It was game worn. And while the patch was basically one color, you also could feel pretty comfortable about the fact that it wasn't swapped out. You got people talking about some of the other things, worrying about that. That's when no one swapped out to make it that patch, So you could feel pretty good about the fact that LeBron actually wore it rookie year, autograph on there. I'm just wondering what it sold for, because I have a feeling it came in a lot lower than the RPA, as you guys were hypothesizing that it would. So that's one that I'd love to see.
Well, we'll have a look at it. Joe Pro says a touch under 100 grand out the door on the LeBron, but we will look at it.
It's amazing.
T-Dot says the Oilers logo was a bit off, as the better ones are more centered on the Gretzky. Good catch. Yeah, I mean that was the logo. We're talking about the whole Oilers logo, right? Okay.
Yep.
All right. But that would throw off the whole card. That would throw off the whole card if that wasn't the actual design of the card. So
that's what I was thinking. That's why I hadn't mentioned it originally until someone commented. I'm like, well, I saw the same thing, but I don't know if it's if that's just a thing with the design. I'm sure you can take a look at your copies as well and see if it's on those. But
yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to look at a few right now and see. So here's a PSA 4. I'm just on eBay.
Yep.
Here's a PSA 4. Same issue.
Yep. That's got to be design, right?
Let's go through a few of them here. Here's a PSA or an SGC 3.5. Same. I'm not gonna discriminate at all. I'm just gonna go in order that they show up on my results here. This is a CSG Authentic. First of all, look at the centering on this one. It's definitely miscut, but let's have a look at just there it is again. Same thing.
That one's actually miscentered top to bottom now. Left to right is better. Top to bottom, that's having.
So strange.
Isn't it? And T. Jones just said there's a PSA 9 on eBay that is centered.
Yeah, here's one. Yeah, they're kind of all over the place. That one's a bit more to the left.
To the right, yep.
Right, yeah. It depends which way you're looking at it from.
Right, yeah, sorry.
So, okay. Anyway, let's go and take a look at the LeBron sold for $96K right there, says the freak. Okay, let's take a look, guys, at the top 24 highest priced items in the August Premier PWCC Premier Auction. Spots 1 and 2 are both occupied by none other than Tom Brady contenders. One's a champ ticket at $1.2 million. The other is the regular version at $750,000. Gem Mint 10. That's not the autograph. That is the card. That is a superb grade for that card. In the third spot, the Hank Aaron, the record breaker, $720K. In the fourth spot, beautiful Steph Curry RPA at 504. And spot number 5 is a Patrick Mahomes gold vinyl out of 5, BGS 9.5, $360,000. In the sixth spot, Luka RPA. This is the version out of 20, and it sold for $348,000. It's a BGS 9.5. In the seventh spot is the Steph Curry gold refractor out of 50, BGS 9.5, $336,000. And then we have the Steve Aoki Michael Jordan PSA 10. Did not get any more bids during extended bidding. It does $204,000, which tells me that there was no premium associated to the provenance of this card itself. In the 9 spot is there it is. There's the Americana, the football card, the hand cut. Pele PSA 6 does $204,000. And in the 10 spot is this beautiful Tom Brady card. BGS 9.5 does $198,000. We're up to number 11. It's a Charizard, $192,000 for the first edition shadowless, followed by the Tom Brady Bowman Gold. These are numbered out of 99. It's a BGS 9, $192,000. That's a great card. Doesn't present very well in this image, but it's much more beautiful than this looks.
Jeremy, that one's jersey numbered. That's why it sold for what it did.
And it's not a chrome. It's the regular Bowman Gold. It's not a gold. That's why it looks.
I was going to say, like, I don't track football, but that seemed high for me.
Yeah, it's got to be the jersey number and the fact that it's out of only 99, but it's not the Bowman Chrome. It's just the regular Bowman. So that's the 12 spot. The 13 spot is this Josh Allen Gold Prism out of 10, does $186,000. I don't understand that, but good on you. Another Luca RPA, Panini National Treasures, PSA 9, Auto 10 does $168,000. This is the true one out of 99, whereas the one up here was out of 20. So that's why you have the distinction there. And it's a bit of that's it. A Patrick Mahomes NTRPA does $168,000, BGS 9. And then this card that we gave a lot of love to tonight, deservedly so, does $162,000. This is the dual auto, on-card auto, quad patch LeBron James and Michael Jordan. I believe that's a 16 spot. And 17 is the Joe Burrow National Treasures Stars and Stripes out of 20, does $156,000, followed by the gold Bowman Chrome Gold Refractor LeBron James BGS 9.5 out of 50, does $144,000. I mean, this card to me is just more interesting than this card here and some of these other ones too, but maybe LeBron's just out of favor right now. He'll come back. And then we have this Trey Lance, the shield card we talked about, does $132,000. That's the 19 spot. And the 20 is the Topps Chrome Gold Refractor. This is the Kobe Bryant card with the LeBron James cameo out of 50. This is a very popular card. This is an iconic card. Adam will maybe tell us if this ends up in the top 100. I don't think it will. I hope it doesn't, but you never know. $126,000. Yeah, don't give it away, Adam. And then finally in the 21 is the Bowman Chrome Refractor Brady BGS 9.5, does 120. Now, if you were to choose between this card here, look at how nice it is, versus this card here, it's a no-brainer. John, no-brainer, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
From an aesthetics perspective.
There's no doubt.
From an aesthetics perspective, it's not even close, but which one would I rather have? I'm a jersey number guy. I'd take the jersey number card 100 times out of 100, personally.
Well, not only that, but it's numbered. This one isn't. It's a scarcer card. So all those things come into play. The unopened box of 86 Fleer, BBCE authenticated, did $120,000. In the 23 spot, we got an NT Stars and Stripes, Josh Allen out of 3. Only 3 copies made, does $102K. And to round out the top 24 in the August premiere, PWCC Premier Auction, a hockey card, Connor McDavid, the Cup, rookie patch auto, PSA 9, does $102,000. Good stuff.
What's the basketball comp to that Connor McDavid? Is that like, it's basically like the LeBron RPA, but it's not LeBron. It's what's Connor McDavid's comp to in the NBA?
He would be comparable to maybe like a Giannis or a Luka. He's in there because he's a 2015 rookie. Okay. I would comp LeBron James to Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin in terms of importance and kind of, where when they came into the leagues, that kind of thing. But this, Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, these guys are more along the lines of the Giannis and the Luka, the Treys, those younger guys, even though, Giannis is a bit older. I want to go to the next page though, and let's see if we can find that limited logos, LeBron, that people were asking for. In the meantime, a couple of comments have been coming in. 503 Trading Cards. Welcome to you to the show. Josh says the LeBron Bowman Chrome Gold Refractor selling for close to the same amount as the Kobe Gold Gem is hilarious. LeBron is way better.
Which Kobe Gold is he talking about?
I'm not sure. Rubber Side Down says, crazy how many cards sell over 100K each month. Hobby seems to be doing great. Yeah, I think of that too. Adam, I'm sorry. I'm not sure which one it was, but maybe we'll see it here. So on page 2 here, there's the Jeter does 96,000. LeBron's Ultimate Collection rookie out of 250. I love this card, does $96,000. And there we have the same as the LeBron limited logos rookie year. Same as the Jackie Robinson. Even the cards that almost sell for 100 grand, there's several of those too, right? I'm just going to scroll through, see if, we didn't look at the star cards, and I don't think we're going to get into them too deep, but the PSA 8 looks pretty nice. Does $84,000.
It's just such an interesting headline because, like, it's all about the population at this point because not enough of them have been able to be sent in because it's such a short period of time that they're graded. You know, it's interesting for folks that are looking at the pop reports and going, oh my God, there's 8 of them. This is so rare. It's like, well, yeah, but it's only been a month that you could mail them in. So
exactly.
Many, many more. Yeah.
Let's take a look at the Star 101s. Let's see. We've got 4 of them here, it looks like. So 4 copies of this card sold tonight in the auction. The PSA 7 did 28.8. The BGS 8, 30. The 8.5 did 35. And the PSA 8 did 84,000. So the PSA 8 sells for more than double a BGS 8.5 and almost triple of a BGS 8. Same grade here. Different, almost triple the value. Something is not right when this happens. Either the hobby is wacko or the grading companies are inconsistent. Or the PSA brand is just it's like buying Louis Vuitton. I don't know.
We should dive in. We should compare the 8s real quick and see. I mean, I'd be really interested to see what you guys think. Which one's nicer, and is it significantly nicer? Is it significantly nicer than the 8.5? Because if it is, maybe it's worth it. But if it's not, then man, that's interesting.
Okay, let's
like
dive in.
Jeremy, are they buying the label, right? Like they buying the label.
I think it's obvious that they are, John, but Adam makes a good point. Let's take a look.
Yeah,
let's take a look at these cards. Let me just set this up here. Okay, so let's start with this one right here. This is the PSA 8. Let's look at the corners and edges first. Okay, so a touch of white, no big deal.
That's nice, though. That's really nice.
Something right there at the top edge looks very nice. Hair in the slab.
It looks
touch
short.
of white on the corner.
Is that typical of this particular card?
What?
The card doesn't fill the total top there when we were at the top. There was a lot of space in the top.
Well, you know how not all PSA slabs are the same. I've rarely seen 2 that are the same. So it's tough
that could be. No, you're right. I've got far less experience with that. So
the top right corner is fine. The right edge has a bit of white showing, but doesn't offend me at all. Bottom right corner looks nice, just a touch of white, a pinpoint. This bottom left corner is the biggest problem, I would say, quite obviously.
Nice copy, though. This is a
very nice copy. John, when you say is that typical with all the cards, I was going to say, with this card, what do you mean, a hair being in the slab? Okay, so that's the PSA. Centering, it's low and it's to the left. To me, that's what you want. You want this card to be off-centered because they were pretty much all off-centered. So to me, it's a very authentic, genuine card. There might be a little bit of tilt. It looks to me like this edge up here is narrower than the edge down here, and same thing happens here. Narrower at the bottom and thicker at the top. If I zoom out, you can kind of see it better, right? Narrower there than up there. So a little bit of tilt that way. No big deal.
This is going to be the nicest of the 3 copies, I'll bet you anything, because this is a nice copy. Other than that one little bit of white that you saw along the top border,
And the bottom left corner is the worst corner.
Yeah, but it's not that bad. I'll bet you the other ones are worse. But that thing right
there, there's a little nick.
Yeah, you're right, Adam. Okay, so that's the PSA 8. Let's look at the BGS 8 now. So the centering is, I think the centering is a lot worse on this card. This is very narrow along the left-hand side, and they gave centering a 7.5. So what would a 1 look like? Like, how low does centering go? I don't know. But the corners, the edges, it doesn't have that white blemish like the PSA had. Coming down, the edge looks great. Same thing as the other card. Bottom edge looks really good. This corner's better than the other card, than the PSA 8. Bit more some edge damage here I didn't see on the PSA copy.
Yep.
Oh, what's this over here? A little bit of a surface blemish right there. And then the centering is just a lot worse. But you see, here's the thing, but this is where subgrades make a difference. And it's like almost apples and oranges comparing PSA to BGS. It's like they have different standards. I don't know which is more industry accepted or generally accepted. I guess they both are, or maybe not. Maybe PSA is because it commands more value. But yeah, Adam, I'm with you. Centering wise, this card is much worse than the PS. And I say much worse. I don't think I'm exaggerating there. Look at this border here under the Bulls logo compared to the top, compared to this one here. You've got that much more room here, and still off center, but it's not nearly as egregious as this one. So for me, I don't think that this $30K for this versus the $84 for this one is that crazy. It's still crazy, but it's not that crazy.
Same page. What about the 8.5?
Here's the BGS 8.5. So top left corner definitely has a bit of wear. Couple of dings up here on the top edge. Rest of it looks really nice. Minor ding there. That corner definitely is a problem. The right edge looks just fine. I mean, a bit of wear, but nothing offensive. This bottom right corner is like almost perfect. Bottom edge has a few touches of white along it. Something going on right here.
I bet that's a case, though. That looks like a case.
Yeah, I was going to say that doesn't look like it's on the card.
But this card is not as nice as the PSA 8. I mean, you could stop.
Look at this. Corner. Look at this.
Yeah.
Let's compare that to the PSA corner.
That's what I was saying. When you're saying it's bad, I was like, not compared to what we're going to see with the BGS. Like, you usually have corner issues with these. You usually do. The full bleed red is real tough.
Yeah, no, you know what? The PSA 8 is a better card than both the BGS 8, for sure better than the BGS 8, and for sure better than the 8.5.
For sure.
So centering here, though, top to bottom is almost bang on. Left to right is pretty good. They gave the centering an 8.5. I think that's probably fair, maybe even a bit under. I don't know. But left to right, it's not that bad. This is not a terrible copy. I do not, look how zoomed out. Those corners don't look so bad. But when you zoom in, that's pretty egregious right there. Same with the other corners as well. Not as bad, but still having issues. That's pretty bad when you zoom in. And that's not as bad, but it's actually not that good either. Like those are three. What did the corners get here? They got an 8. Like, I think that might be overgraded. I don't know. I'd have to look at a bunch. But overall, I think that the hobby made the right decision by paying the most for the PSA 8 over the BGS 8 and the BGS 8.5. With that said, is it that much of a difference? And I think the answer is yes, it is, because the differences are so minute that when you get into the better cards, you have to pay significantly more. It's like an exponential sort of thing. So I still think it's maybe more. I think it has to do with what John was saying earlier, a lot to do with the low pop, which is a temporary environment that we're in, as more and more Beckett's get crossed over and more Raws get graded by PSA. So we'll see.
What this tells me, though, how are you going to ever get a PSA 9? I mean, like, this is a great copy. This 8 is. It's not bad as far as centering goes on a star card. It was at least even with the 8.5 on centering, or at least I think pretty close. It was better than the 8. And then all around the rest of the card was so nice, and still it yielded only an 8. Are you going to get any PSA 9s? Maybe you don't.
Maybe you never do. I just want to call out Mid-Atlantic says the BGS 8 centering is not bad. Must judge it on the back, not the front. So that's interesting, because I don't know that I mean, maybe you want to assess it based on the back, not the front, but I don't know if I would judge it on the back versus the front. So I flipped them over, And let's see, I'm going to look at, the distance between here and here. These black borders around the stats box are very indicative, top to bottom. This is the BGS. Which one is this? This is the 8.5.
Yep.
The centering
That's
looks
nice.
great. I would also consider the border between the word official and the edge here and compare it to this distance here.
It looks really good.
I mean, yeah, it looks good, right?
But
Yep.
it's the back. I just don't care nearly as much as I do the front. I just don't.
This one's going to be the worst. It's even like rotated almost.
Well, it's also tilted in the holder, though.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yep.
So I think that this one is a little bit worse, but nothing to me that would make much of a difference to what I would pay. And then this one, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The backs, I don't see anything that really is that telling on the backs.
We've talked about this before, Jeremy. I did a run of the Wilt Chamberlain cards from 61 all the way through 74, his whole career. And there's the 1973 card's a really tough one, and I found a PSA 9 of it. Front centering on all of them that I ever saw that were good. The back was awful. And the question is, well, do you want the back to be good and the front to be awful, or the front to be good and the back to be awful? There's not a conversation. You don't care about the back. If it's going to be that way, some cards are different. You can get both the back and the front sort of in the right place. But a lot of sets, that's just not the case. You're choosing one or the other, and you're going to go with the front every time.
Yeah, I when I don't care about the back is if I have a real vintage card, like a card from the 20s or 30s, or not 40s, 20s or 30s type of thing, where the front is really nice, but there's paper loss on the back because it was in an album or something, and it presents like a 7, but is priced like a 1. I love that card. I love cards that. What a great deal for a card that just looks so good. Let's go to some comments, guys, and then we'll go to comments from the chat. Guys, we're going to wrap this up, and then final comments from the panel, and then we're going to wrap up the episode. So I want to start here. Mid says star centering is based on the back, not the front. That's why the fronts look off on centering. Maybe they were cut based on the back. I don't know what I mean by that.
Maybe cut. That's fine.
Yeah. Josh says it moves around quite a bit, sadly. Says usually they do it for die cuts, but some other cuts they do it too, not consistent. Sorry, I'm not sure what we're talking about there. Oh, I think we're talking about the sleeves or the PSA holders, because he says up here that PSA uses spaced out borders a lot when they use inner sleeves. Hence why there's so many versions of their slab. Josh says just crack all the BGS holders and submit them to PSA. Isn't it because PSA just started grading them? I think that's why that's why there's the low populations. Mollico says they clearly have higher standards. I think that's evident on that card at least.
For sure.
Says BGS is too lenient more often, in my opinion. T-Dot says, weren't the stars made in someone's basement? I don't know if they were made in a basement or what, but maybe afterwards.
Hey, Jeremy, can I interrupt you real quick? The other thing that's really important to recognize here, I know you guys are going to know what I'm talking about right when I start talking about it. When the cards were graded really matters, because there's clearly been movement in terms of how hard it is to get a high grade on something. If something is in the 7s, meaning that it was graded, 10 years ago, 12 years ago now, and by BGS, that's really different than how they grade today. And I've heard both PSA and BGS say, look, we don't do it any different than we ever have. I 100% call bull on that. I just don't believe it.
It's like what you said about the maze earlier. The PSA maze, like it wouldn't get the same grade today, probably based on the current standard. It totally.
So if you go look at those two Jordans, the two BGS Jordans, I didn't notice, but I'll bet you they're both from the 7s and 8s rather than from like the 14s, which is the most recent. Because I don't think today those would get an 8 and an 8.5 grade. But at the same time, it's not up to the person who buys the card to always have to get it regraded. I just wish the companies were a little bit more consistent.
So the 8.5 is
the
850.
Yep.
The 8 is 66977.
That's exactly what I was talking about. These were graded a long time ago. And so would they get the same grade today from BGS? I would guess not, personally. BGS is pretty tough now. So
okay, a couple more comments here, guys. Rubber side down, surprised there aren't more F1 cards in these auctions. I didn't look at how many there were this month, but there's been a couple each month lately, and I think that's where it should be for now. But then again, those dynasty cards did some crazy numbers and continue to, so we may see more in the future. Jay Mollico says there may never be a PSA 10 of that card. I agree. It looks like Gerald's bouncing. Great to see you, Gerald. Thanks as always. Yeah, we'll see you in Burbank, bro. We'll see you in Burbank.
Can we ask Gerald if he's still here? Did he win his card? That's what I want to know. If Gerald won his card, he'll tell us.
Let us know, Gerald.
I won't say what it is, but I know he was thinking about bidding on something.
Alexander says the last PSA 8 Star MJ sold for $158K in March, $115 in August, and now this sale clearly trending down as pop increases. Yeah, because back then, no one knew that PSA was going to start grading them, and they thought that there was, he did not. They thought that there was only ever, that pop was fixed forever, and then PSA started grading them. So yeah, people are going to be left holding the bag, and the pop's just going to continue to grow. Like the overall pop is going to continue to grow now as people switch over from BGS over to PSA. So, all right.
I was just staring. I have a Drexler out of 84. That was a 7.5. That was a recent grade. So I was just comparing that, like looking through one that I have sitting here because it has the same red border and everything. So it's a good kind of space, but yeah, just looking at what it got for corners and centering, and they did it hard on the centering from left to right. They only gave it a 7, but it's the top to bottom was good, but the left to right is really really bad. But yeah, without having like the microscope PWCC photographs to get really in there, the corners actually on this look very good. But just trying to compare it, like you were saying, because I think you're right, Adam. I think depending on the time it was sent in, that these things change. These things definitely change. And it was one of the things that I observed even just being at the National this year, seeing that discussion between people coming up with an older slabbed card and saying, hey, I want to get it reholdered, and hearing the response of, okay, but we're going to have to reassess it. And they're like, wait, what? It's like, well, we're putting in a new slab. We've got to look at it again. We don't know. It could be different now. It's like we talked about earlier about the autographs, spading, things like that. As a grading company, they've got to look at it, what it looks like today when they put it in. So different standards, different time.
Yeah, you make a very, very important point there. They do change. The cards do change over some time. So especially autographs, and especially if standards change, as Adam said before, he calls bull. They'll the grading companies will tell us that they haven't changed their standards, but we know better. We just do because we're not stupid. It's almost like it's pretty evident. So why make yourself?
Maybe they're just enforcing the rules more than they did before. The rules haven't changed. We're just enforcing them now.
Bingo. That's right. I mean, the standards haven't, the published standards haven't changed. The degree to which they adhere to them in the grading rooms has definitely changed over time. And it's probably gone in all directions, back and forth a few times.
And to make it even more convoluted, I'm a BGS guy. I've always been a BGS guy. At the beginning, BGS was so tough. And then it felt like there was a period where there was a slump. And now I think they're tough again. And within like this whole spectrum, you've got moments in where specific cards are graded where something's too high and something's too low. And I guess it's impossible to be completely consistent when people are grading cards, right? That's one of the things that we just know is true is people are not going to be totally consistent because you're going to have a number of different graders and yada yada yada. But people say, older BGS holders are always too lenient. I don't think that's true either, because I think it just goes in waves and it leads to confusion. So you really just have to have like a PhD in this stuff to be able to sort of know whether it's a great deal or not.
And there wouldn't be so many people cracking and resubmitting if that weren't true, right? If the idea that you could get a different grade each time somebody else, their two eyes are looking at it, and now something is changing, because you hear again and again that people do that quite a bit. So absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. It's tough for them to do. A couple good comments here. Mollico says they have to because they are losing credibility, and I'm seeing more and more of those sorts of comments out there just in the interwebs, and yeah, it's why I'm such a big fan of what Tag is going to be bringing to the table when they launch next week and in Burbank. Big fan of what they're bringing with their automated grading. It's going to be consistent. It's going to be consistent from day one until the end of the day, and I think that's unbelievable. T-Dot says, like anything with high volumes, standards change. Well, yes, but unless it's automated, they won't change. They won't change in that case. And So yeah, looking forward to that sort of disruption to our hobby. And we'll see how that goes. Matt Clark says, I didn't think they reviewed the grade unless the holder had damage. I think that policy has changed, is my understanding. But again, a lot of what we hear is what we hear. Just like T-Dot's comment earlier, that I thought star cards were made in someone's basement. Like, what's your source of that information? It's an old wives' tale type of thing. Unless it is true, then it isn't an old wives'
Unless
tale.
you have a big basement with a printing press.
Yeah, maybe that was the address of the business. What's the difference between a basement and a room in a building? Who cares if it's a basement?
I got to show you guys something real quick while we're talking about this. So I had an amazing collection come my way a couple years ago. Jeremy, I think you remember it. I had 3 Jordan rookies, a Jordan XR, just an incredible collection. And this stuff had sat still for 40 years. Most of it was still in the original Star team bags. Long story short, I still have 4 cards from that collection. The reason that I have them, they're right here. The reason I have them is that Beckett wouldn't grade them because they were trimmed. They were still in the Star bags. They were not trimmed. Okay. Like this guy that I had gotten them from, he was like, what does trimmed mean? He's like, I opened the bag. He had no idea, right? They came out mini size. All 4 of these did. It's because Star cards are notorious for having different sizes. And this is part of why I think PSA didn't grade them for such a long time. I don't know how they've been able to get past that, other than that they're just going to mini size the crap.
I know how.
How?
I think they did a deal with Steve Hart. Not Steve Hart. What's his name? Oh boy.
I thought it was Steve Hart.
Not Steve Hart. Steve Hart's baseball card exchange. It's Steve Taft. Steve Taft is the guy who worked for Star back in the 80s. And he's like apparently the only person who can tell what a real Star card is for sure. And I think they either hired him or did a consulting deal with him. So he's looking at these cards.
Well, I hope he has a way to be able to tell that they're trimmed or not, because again, my experience is that these 4 are all a little bit shorter, but literally the 2 on top here were both still in the bag. Like they are not trimmed. So maybe they just have to be a certain size, but that sucks because it's like, no, it came out of the bag that way, you know? So I don't know.
I've seen that happen too when folks send in stuff that they put into a screw down, like the 4 screw down things, and then the impression that it left on the card, they said that it wasn't minimum size, or that there was that it was the same trimmed, I think, categorization. And it's like, but I didn't trim it. I just had it in this case that was the case you were supposed to put it in back then. That was the accepted 4 screw down, which now anyone sees a card in that they freak out these days. But back when, that was like, that's where you put your good cards, you know?
Yeah. Jacob S says, I have a Star 8.5, was graded beginning of 2018. Any thoughts on timing strictness? Adam, unless you can answer that, I'll give you a moment. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, just really quick. I actually graded a ton of stuff in that era too. It seems not. I think they're stricter now than they were then. I don't think that's not the low point. That's not like 2014 and 2015. So it was not as. I would guess that 2018 was more strict than 2014, 15, but not as strict as it is today.
There you go, Jacob S. There you go. Mid-Atlantic can correct, says he didn't work for Star, being Steve Taft, but he's historically the biggest Star dealer / specialist. Well, thank you for clarifying that, Mid-Atlantic Sports Cards, and that's good information. But does that mean that he can tell? Does it mean that he can tell?
These are going into PSA because CSG, who I'm going to use to grade all this stuff, including this guy right here. You guys will like this one, John. I know you.
Oh yes. The Russell and Jones. I love that.
And this is just one of the prettiest cards I own too.
I have a Russell Heinsohn very similar.
I love that. So anyway, if these come back trimmed, I'll put my hands in the air and say, I mean, I'm not trying to like leverage this or anything. It'll just mean they're wrong, right? It'll just mean that they can't tell, and that's fine. It just means they can't tell.
Yeah,
they don't understand that there was an inconsistency at the creation level. That's the problem, right? Because if they're looking and they're saying, look, it's not 2.5 by 3.5, it's smaller than the traditional trading card side, and that's what we would call trimmed, right? But these weren't produced all at that same size. That's the discrepancy. Yeah,
exactly. The 51 Parkhurst hockey cards have the same issue. John, here's a question for you from Latrell. He says, can you explain your position? I heard you say you prefer all of your collection in one touches more than graded slabs. I hope I'm quoting you correctly. Would love your take.
Yeah. So part of it's because so much of my collection are autographs. And I'm not a guy that buys the grade or the label. I'm the guy that buys the card for the card. So I tend to put more money into cards than I do into sending them out for grading or buying, the 10 over the 9. I'm just fine with a 9. I'm just fine with a near mint to mint card, in fact, as long as the eye appeal of it is really good. My biggest fear, because like I said earlier in the broadcast, my biggest fear is that none of these cases, it doesn't matter what grading company you go with, none of them are designed to protect your card from light for forever. They're not even designed to protect your card from edge damage. I mean, a lot of the old PSA slabs, you could shake the card, right? I could pull out a PSA slab right now and I could shake the card violently, and I bet it would leave indentations on the side of it, the way it's up. They're not the most protective. They're a good presentable way. They're a good standard that people have gotten used to. They create consistency and they give people comfort in the fact that you've got some numeric grade and another set of eyes, professional eyes, looking at something and rendering their opinion. But for me, every card I buy, I look at myself, and as long as it meets my standards, I feel like I have no problem never grading it. I have no problem leaving it in a one touch or in a protective case that I feel like is good for it, and that I can change out if I feel like the one touches are rated for like 5 years in UV. So it's a lot easier for me to go switch out a one touch on a card than it is for me to go re-slab a card every 5 years. So that's kind of
John,
my
you are your own personal grading company.
What pretty much.
How are your prices? Do you charge yourself fairly or what?
I try.
How was your backlog? How was your backlog last year?
Backlog's crazy right now. It's crazy, Jeremy. I got boxes all over the place.
I love it, man. You're such a collector. That's such a great answer. I want to bring up T-Dot's comment here. He says, the psychology of how people chase the grade is so intriguing. Premiums are crazy at times. You see, T-Dot, that's one of your best takes. I agree completely. We all agree. We all agree. Okay, listen, I want to quickly let everybody who's still with us, we still have over 80 viewers. We're 3 hours and 10 minutes in. I want to thank you all in the chat for joining us. By the way, John Latrell just says thank you for the explanation.
No problem.
I want to let everybody know this is day 1 of 4 in a row of streams, live streams, content, on Sports Cards Live channel. So thank you for joining us on night 1. Tomorrow, night 2, episode number 3 of Hobby Hangout will be a Burbank show preview. We're also going to talk about the California card scene. We got a great lineup. We got Mark from Ultimate Pastime joining us. We've got FD from Rollin' with FD joining us. We've got Brad, the comeback card investor, joining us. And we've also got Michael Coleman of Coleman Cards. These are all California card guys. They're all joining us. I invited like 7 people. I decided to do that show at like midnight last night, sent invites to like 7 people, got 4 accepted, and we have a stellar lineup for tomorrow night. We're going live at 10 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night for that show. Saturday night, the regular episode of Sports Cards Live, episode number 152. Our guest will be Brian Pirrup. He has 60,000 followers on TikTok, maybe the biggest TikTok card account. And he is just a guy who loves the hobby. He's all about grassroots and growing the hobby. So if you're in the mood for some sort of hobby positivity and how to grow it, maybe pick up some tips, that's going to be a fun episode. And then finally on Sunday at 7 o'clock Eastern is Collectible Live. And our guest is going to be Chris Ivy. If you have been in this hobby for more than a few minutes, you know about Chris Ivy. He's been with Heritage Auctions for a long time. And I've never met him in person, but I know him to see him. I've seen him all over the National for the last 13, 14 years. So that's going to be a good one as well. 7 o'clock Eastern on this channel, Collectible Live. Jeff Hart, you have a good one too. Thank you so much for joining. T-Dot, great to see you as always. Final comments to the panel, and then we are out. Adam, we'll start with you.
I have 2 things. The first is I just finalized a trade while here on the show. I'm going to show you what I'm giving up, and I'm not going to tell you what I'm getting, but It's pretty cool. So I'm giving up the Jordan Intense. I'm giving up a PMG Red from the Retro Series. I'm giving up a Kobe Bryant 01 Credentials. It's a big card, number 39.
What's that one number to
39.
Can I see the front of it again?
Yeah, it's a big card. I'm not happy about letting this one go.
Oh, amazing.
It's a big card. And then this card is from 1998, Heart and Soul, MJ, and it is number 23 out of 100.
Oof. What are you getting?
I can't say. I'll wait till next month, and then I'll say on this show what I got.
You got to bring it with you.
I'll bring it with me. Well, actually, it's going to the vault, so maybe I don't think I can bring it with me. I think it's going to be.
Get us a pic. Get us a picture. Can you just text me what it is, please? I want to know.
Yeah, you're going to leave us hanging for a
I'll
month?
text-
This is
I'll
awful,
text-
Adam.
I'll text you guys. I'll text you
Okay.
guys. The other thing is, obviously, I just always love doing this show with you guys. You guys are like two of my favorite people in the whole hobby, and thank you for Jeremy. Always thank you for having me. I can't take that for granted. Any day now, you could say, Adam, I don't want you coming back next month, and that would make me really sad. So please don't ever do that. But then the last thing is everybody who's commenting on all the Iconic 100 videos every day. I'm absolutely in love with this project. It's my favorite thing I've ever done, and I just love it. So go watch it. If you haven't gone and watched the PWCC little 25-second videos that we post every day, or the YouTube channel or the podcast, please go do it. I think you will really like it. Today was number 91, the Billy Ripken 1989 Fleer card, and we're just going to keep counting them down one a day for the next 3 months. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm glad that card didn't end up any higher. I know I saw some comments. People said it should be higher up on the list. I'm glad it's not because it's Billy Ripken, but it's still an iconic card. Good to get on the list.
I had it at 50.
I
had it at 50, Jeremy. So I thought it should have been way higher, but
yeah, I don't think it even made my list. T. Jones says, thanks for less ball busting tonight. You bet, T. Always welcome in the chat. You know that. John, thanks for joining. To you, Adam, I appreciate your comments. Thanks for joining. John, I'll let you make a final comment, and then we'll end it.
Yeah, Adam, it was absolutely my pleasure. It's great being with you guys again. Just have a lot of fun. I found this one as we were talking about it earlier. This is my reprint mantle that was given out at the East Coast National, our New York show back on August 17th, 1991. Pretty awesome. It's funny how relevant this card was back then and continues to be today. We talk about cycles and card collecting and always about collecting what you love. I always tell people, if you collect the players that you love and the cards that really resonate with you, odds are other people like them too. So if you kind of go with your gut with this stuff and buy stuff that you really like or trade for it, as Adam's even though he's cringing right now about giving up what he's giving up, I'm sure what he's getting in return is filling his heart as well. So stick with that, and thank you guys again. It's always a pleasure.
You bet, John. I need your guys' advice. Sorry, I got to drag this out another minute.
What are we doing?
I want to know which card. Oh, check out, by the way, if anyone wants a Sports Cards Live sticker for their back of their iPhone, just let me know. But this card here, I love this Cal Ripken card. I know it's maybe not his rookie because he's got a top. I think he's got a 80. And anyway,
it's nowhere as iconic as the Billy Ripken, but
no.
Hey, no Cals made the Iconic 100, but Billy did. How about that?
Backwards. This card here. Which card which card do you guys like better? This card or the 1969 Reggie Jackson rookie card? I know you're not baseball guys.
The Reggie Jackson. The Reggie.
All day long, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's the Reggie. Yeah.
Okay. Because, I get these paintings done and I just got my third batch. I have another batch I just ordered and I do hockey, baseball, basketball, football. And I was trying to decide which baseball card. I've got the other three picked out, but I haven't picked out the baseball yet. And I was picking these ones and I gave her the Cal Ripken. And then I realized, wait a second, Reggie Jackson. So I'm going to switch it up to Reggie. I just needed that affirmation that,
Did you realize it? Did you realize it because he popped up on the Iconic 100?
No, that actually had nothing to do with it, believe it or not. It's because I think he was number 96. I have these two paintings.
So cool.
I also got my Mario Lemieux and the Jerry Rice. That was batch number 3. And now I'm ordering batch number 4.
How many total are you getting?
Well, I did. I commissioned her for 16 at first. So I just ordered my last batch of 4. And then I told her today, I said, you know, I'll keep ordering these as long as you'll keep doing them. She goes, yeah, I'll keep on doing them. So
It's awesome.
I'm going to do more.
What do you think of my painting I got in the mail yesterday?
It's pretty cool.
It's so cool, right?
Pretty cool.
He's in a Hawks uniform on the 71 tops. And so my buddy had this painted where he's with the Jazz.
I love it.
Get a painting of Billy Ripken. And what would it say? What would it say on the bat knob? It would say Sports Cards Live.
Yeah, see, Jeremy, you're gonna have 16 or 20. You're gonna have a nice even number of paintings, and then one day you're gonna go to your door, and at your doorstep there's gonna be this random box, and it's gonna be Billy Ripken.
Right. Well, so the first 16 I've ordered are all vertical, full-size cards, like standard size. Once she does this 4 I ordered today. The next 4 I'm going to do horizontals. So I'm going to get Bobby Orr for hockey. I'm going to get Sandy Koufax for baseball, probably John Unitas for football, and the Bird Magic Irving for basketball. How awesome is that going to be? Yeah. And then after that, I might go for an off-size, like, 48 Leaf Jackie, the Gordie Howe rookie, like smaller cards. So anyway, that's where we're at. We're going to end this now, guys. Again, thank you to my co-host, Adam Gray, our special guest, John, the basketball card guy. You guys, the chat, always make it so great that we've lost half of you in the last hour, but it's great to have you guys that are sticking around till the bitter end. Thank you, everybody, so much. This was great. Hopefully we see you 3 more nights in a row here on the channel for more great content. I'm excited about it. And if you're going to be at the Burbank show next week, I will be there. I can't wait. We'll see you then. You guys hang tight. Everyone else, thank you, as always, for joining. This episode is over.